Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Rogue Room. My name is Abigail Beck, your number one source for someone reading things on the internet and having a reaction and opinion regarding those things that she reads on the internet. What's going on? What's happening? Look what happened. My Brigitte shirt arrived. My Brigitte shirt arrived. I don't even play this fucking game anymore, but I like exercise because I love eating is literally my life motto. So I have it now. Us. What's going on, folks? How are you going? How's your day been? I ended up pulling an all-nighter. Oh my goodness. I simply could not. My microphone is bouncing around a bit. Here. Octopus? Go protect the microphone. Why is that so unsteady? What the hell's going on? Anyway, you're making some bling in FF14. Hang on a second. Let me move this. Okie doke. There we go. Okay. Oh my goodness. Stressed, you know, day ending in Y. Yeah, not a particularly fancy outfit. I can chill sometimes. I don't have to always be on. You know, I can vibe in whatever I feel like. Woke up to vomit for no apparent reason. Oh my gosh. I'm assuming you mean your own. Like someone else didn't vomit on you, I hope. I would hope that's not the case. Oh, hang on. I keep missing something in my background. I keep doing this. I just looked at my microphone. Anyway. How can I be the queen of the sword lesbians without my fucking sword, you know? I'm gonna buy a Tanto. I want to buy a Tanto. Anyway. There we go. You might be going back into the prison. Why are you going back into the prison system? What have you done? What did you do? This came from a stream where the guy was simping for Bill Gates because it's not like he just became this capitalist overnight because of COVID, right? What? A Tanto is like a katana, but it's a, it's like short, it's like a dagger. It's like, you know, 16.5 inches, I think it is. No, wait, that's not right. 16.5, I don't know. The blade is short. It's a short-bladed katana-style weapon. I'll look them up for you, hang on. Also, I have a, it's like this, basically. This is what a Tanto is. You know. It's a short, bladed weapon. I really would like to get one. They're really cool. But anyway. I don't need it for any particular reason. Although there was the incident recently where I might have needed a blade for self-defense. But that's neither here nor there. You don't know what happened, but you feel okay now. Well, I mean, that's a plus at least. Still, I know the feeling of waking up in a puddle of your own fluids. From the mouth, that is to say. But mine was blood. It's really weird when you wake up and it's like, there's a pool of something next to my face. What happened here? What events have transpired while I've been asleep? I've got a throat lozenge in my mouth. I don't know if I clarified that. I'm working on your HLGDD. What's HLGDD? App ain't gonna design itself. You never... Oh, a Tanto because I'm so tantalizing. I am, aren't I? Thank you for the hydration, Katrina. How you going? But yeah, I should probably stop. But I've got a bunch of big expenses to take care of before I buy myself any ancient Japanese bladed weapons. So maybe I'll, you know, focus on doing those first before I buy myself something. Got to do my... What am I going to do? I've got to do my car registration, insurance. Endo appointment tomorrow is going to set me back a few hundred. You know, there's a bunch of stuff that I have to take care of. Here's the thing. I want to just do something really quickly. Where's my clip thing? Unless somebody wants to clip it for me. I can't even see my clip button. There it is. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm clipping it. There we go. I got to see it on my stream. I'm taking screenshots of myself, basically. Because you might have seen this on Twitter. If you're a sub and you look at your emotes, look what you got now, folks. You've got Abby Angie. You've got the Angie Abby emote. This is the news, by the way. And similarly, if you follow me on Twitter, which you should be doing, what the fuck are you doing if you're not? You'll be getting this one if you're a tier 2 sub. We'll be getting the POG if you're a tier 2. And if you've cheered 1k plus bits, you'll get this one. Now, I don't know how it defines who gets to keep these emotes or what. And I'm going to be working on new emotes soon, more emotes soon. I think that's how that works. Like, if you've cheered 1,000 bits, then you get that emote. I'm assuming they're in the system already. I've just got to wait for them to be approved. You know, so there's that thing happening. There you go. There's that. Enjoy, friendos. Enjoy the Angie emote. Get flipped off. Detroit, there you go. Enjoy. If you cheer 1k, you get the emote regardless of if you're sub. Yeah, but how long do you keep it for is what I'm curious about. Like, is it a sub kind of situation? Do you get it for a month or do you get it permanently? I'm not sure what the situation is there. Not that I mind if someone gets it permanently. It's 1,000, like it's $10, you should get it permanently. There you go. That answers that question for us. Awesome. Fantastic. Oh. Anyways. Today wasn't terribly eventful for me, but on the subject of Tantos, I guess. This isn't really particularly related, but I think I did mention last night that I am planning on taking my daughter and myself to karate classes. The shirt says, I like exercise because I love eating. I saw this shirt years ago. And the reason I got this shirt is because when they announced the character of Brigitte in Overwatch, she's wearing it, although she has it cut off. And honestly, I'm tempted. And I don't know why this screenshot is so terrible, but yeah, I think it was her announcement trailer, or it was Reinhardt's little video short thing. And yeah, she's wearing the tank top, which, you know, it doesn't really work out the same, but it's a cool design on its own merits. You know, as someone who likes to eat and someone who likes to lift, you know, you might have gleaned that a little bit. It fits really well. But yeah, now I'm like, do I just get around like with the shirts rolled up? She is just neat. I love Brigitte. I don't play Overwatch anymore, but I love her. She's an awesome character. And a lot of people hate her guts, but like she's quite literally a cyber paladin. She's awesome. Like I could just get around with this. Wear it to the gym like this, you think? Do I cut the sleeves off? What do you reckon? I don't want to ruin it though, because I don't think the sleeves are even... Yeah, no, the sleeves aren't even... what's it called? They're not even stitched on separately, so I couldn't just rip them off. Tie bows around the shoulder. That's an idea. That's an idea. Also, hang on. I'm really tempted now to get... let me find it. No, nah. I'm finding a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I'm really tempted to get myself a pair of red overalls. They shouldn't be too hard to find, honestly. I'm honestly tempted to do that. And it looks like this person may have the same exact shirt, or maybe they made it. It's hard to tell. Either way, a bunch of cosplayers have cosplayed this particular outfit, where she's got the one, you know, the red overalls on the one shoulder. Let me look it up. Let's just window shop for a minute. Let's have a look for a minute. I'm sure they exist. Etsy, I could go on Etsy. I could go on... Amazon's got them. But nothing that specifically looks utilitarian, which is the thing. You know. Still, could be worth a look. Could be worth a gander. For the hell of it. Anywho. To hear more of my stupid bullshit, why don't you follow me on Twitter if you haven't already? Which is a really bad idea. I don't recommend it. But I also do recommend it. Because otherwise I wouldn't have put it into my bot. Which is still typing in italics. I'm not a fan of this. Twitch. Reverse the decision. I could also get a cheapo grey shirt. And you don't mind ruining and print the graphic off. Yeah, you could do that. That'd be a good idea, I suppose. I don't see a problem with that kind of thing. I don't want to ruin this one. This one looks nice. Should I wear this to the gym? Do you reckon I should wear this to... Should I wear it to the gym? Abby is not a fan of this. Don't you... I will smack you. There you go. Should I wear the Brig shirt to the gym? We'll put it to a poll. I feel like it's going to be a universal yes. Smack me harder, Abby. I will get violent in this chat. I've got a very tiny letter opener that's covered in, like, sticky residue from envelopes. It won't cut you, but it'll definitely, leave your finger sticky. Don't tempt me. I'll do it. I will do it. Oh, we got a few nahs. We got some yes, we got some nahs. It's contentious. Leave your finger sticky? Oh, for fuck's sake. What have I done? Oh, I could, if it comes down to a yes, unless there's an overwhelming nah, sudden swing the other way, I'll wear it to the gym tomorrow and I'll take some photos in it. I'll take some sexy photos in it. Like I did earlier today. Like I did this bullshit. Where is it? I post way too many photos on Twitter. Like really way too many photos. But like I posted this gym shot. I don't know can I show this? It's not really that lewd. I posted this gym shot. And then I posted this shot at home where I'm like, I'm not going to take that kind of pose in the gym. And then my friend Jacinta says to me, she dares me to take a photo in that pose in the gym. And now I'm just like, I could. I most certainly could do that. There's nothing technically stopping me, the eyeball sensor. There's nothing technically stopping me from doing it, What's wet and sticky? A wet stick? The eyeball sensor? Yeah. You're not allowed to see the feet. The feet are not free. Anywho. Do it. I should do it. I should do it. Should I do it? Probably. It'd probably be a bad idea, but I should probably do it. Valid and commendable. My efforts to grotesquely sexualize myself in a room full of weights and very large men. Why would I do that to myself? I actually feel... how much for the feet? $10 per picture. Anyway, the feet are not free. You wouldn't suggest posing in the gym personally. Why not? Then, you know what? More gyms need posing rooms. Some gyms have posing rooms, but they're like bodybuilding gyms. Cod Flames, welcome to the Rogue Room. So I'm wearing the Brig shirt at the gym tomorrow, apparently. We're doing this. What else was I going to say? I forgot. Oh yeah, certain gyms do have posing rooms where you can go in there and they've got mirrors and good downlighting and all that, and you can, pose and flex and take photos and videos and all that sort of stuff. But I've never been in one of those gyms. I just know they exist out there somewhere. It's kind of awkward when you're in the gym and you want to get photos because you're in the perfect place for it. You want to look in there, you want to see how good your arms look, your back, your ass, obviously, legs. And gyms have lighting. It's all, it's all that perfect down lighting. You're surrounded by mirrors. But very rarely do you see people taking photos. And I think there's just self-consciousness about it. A lot of people I don't know. I almost never see anyone taking photos. I see a few dudes posing in the mirror. But I never see them taking photos or videoing themselves. Because, there's that inherent fear, I think. That if you're recording yourself or taking photos of yourself or whatever, people are going to think, oh, that creep is taking photos of me. They're recording me. Some twats may take the posing and selfie as an invitation. An invitation to what? To get in the shot. Your high school maths teacher was a bodybuilder who went to one of those gyms. I've never actually seen one in person. I just know they exist somewhere. Oh, well, to harass, yeah. I could see that happening. I haven't had anyone really accost me in the gym for anything. But that thing that happened the other day happened at the shopping center, and it was somebody who was, I don't know what their deal was. I've never had that kind of issue with anybody in the gym, though. Not to say that it couldn't happen. However, I feel like it's unlikely. Most people in the gym I've noticed, in the numerous gyms I've been to, mind their own business. They're there just to work on their body. They're not there to really socialize, to engage. They're there to bodybuild, or they're there to lose weight, or they're there to whatever they're doing. Powerlift, I don't care. That's just my general experience with the people I've met in gyms, is that they mind their own business, they do their thing, they get out, generally speaking. Everyone be self-conscious, exactly. That's one of the big things too. Nobody wants to be that person that draws attention to themselves, ironically. Which, I suppose posing in the mirror would do that, Unless you see an old mate at the gym. Well, I mean, yeah, if you see someone and you chat them up, go have a bit of socialization, you're allowed to do that. It's okay, you're allowed to socialize in the gym. No one wants to be Steven Crowder. Exactly! Quite literally, I've never seen anyone go into the gym with the specific intention of getting everyone's attention focused on them. Because at the end of the day, everyone's, very self-absorbed. Everyone's typically got either their music in or they're just hyper-focused. So, and when you have situations like Steven Crowder's bullshit, typically speaking, what you're dealing with is, everyone's aware that he was doing a bit. Every person he recorded, who was giggling and laughing in that video we watched, it's they were well aware that he was doing it to draw attention to himself, and that's why they were laughing at him. Just won't push me to do sexy poses in public for selfies, true. Well, I wasn't being sexy when I was being harassed. That's the thing. That's the issue here with that situation a couple of days ago. I wasn't doing anything to be overtly sexual. I was walking to my car. Look at me, I'm going to dress up all pretty and go out. Haha, everyone's going to be so triggered. I think Crowder has some unresolved issues. Doesn't my eyes look so good in these? Hello, No Name Sam. How you doing? I should consume this lozenge already, so it's done and out of my mouth. Ah, there we go. Anywho, there definitely are a lot of morons like that, yeah. I just don't think it would generally happen in the gym. Just based on personal experience. However, it certainly could. Don't get me wrong, it certainly could happen. Maybe Steve is NB. There's been a lot of speculation that he's an egg, and there's a lot of speculation that he's closeted gay or something like that. What does don't be reactionary mean? A reactionary is someone who specifically has contrarian viewpoints against progressive ideas. So, progress in, you say your name is Sam, yet you have no name. So, with all the, well, what's a good example of a reactionary viewpoint, folks? Give me a good example, because I feel like I'm going to fuck it up if I say it. If I say anything. Someone who opposes gay marriage is the first thing that comes to mind, is a reactionary viewpoint. Because gay marriage is seen as a progressive idea, which, we're sort of in the post phase of gay marriage, but, someone who is the antis, basically, yeah. Isaac Butterfield is a walking reactionary, yeah, quite literally. TERFs with anything trans, pretty much, yeah. Oh god, I gotta show you this YouTube comment, because this person is deranged. This is a type of derangement syndrome. I don't know why I engaged, yet anti-weed. Pretty much anything that would open up the world to a lot, to a much brighter future, much more welcoming, accepting kind of future. Anti-safe school cunts. Let me think. Anyway, where were we? Where was this particular thing? This person started a whole thing. An obvious TERF. And I'm just going to read the last message. I'm just going to read a part of this last message. You can't not wait, what? No, I think what they're saying is people, antis accept anti-fascism. Basically, don't just argue with uninformed opinions. Pretty much, I suppose. Yeah, the weed thing is we're in favor of weed legislation that allows people to just smoke marijuana and not be sent to prison for it, possess marijuana and not get sent to prison for it, kind of thing. And there are people who desperately want to keep weed criminalized and other drugs and all that kind of thing. So the reactionary stance in that regard is the person who explicitly doesn't want drugs to be decriminalized, you know? If you don't like weed, that's fine. Just don't judge people who enjoy it because you don't, yeah. Maybe having a bit of pot shouldn't be a fucking life sentence. And we could get into the whole discussion around, like, why it's not just, you know, spend 2 to 5 years in jail. It definitely affects people who have been in prison for marijuana possession years after the fact. Their life is destroyed afterwards. What was the comment? Okay, so after a bunch of turf diatribe, this particular sentence gets me really annoyed. This is effectively the manifesto of the turf. And the thing is, you could flip this on the inverse, but they've said to me, "We're not going away, mate. Our voice is getting stronger every day and we will never give up." Now, what exactly are trans people trying to do in a legislative sense? I just want to throw this out there. What exactly are defenders of trans rights at the moment trying to do? Just give me, you know, I want to see you, chat, give me a broad summary. You know? It is such pretentious bigotry, it is. Well, no, we're not transing everyone, that's a meme. Change our names, I suppose. Self-identify. Yeah, what they've just said to me is we will never give up on our genocide of you. And they're saying, yeah, we're getting more voices, we're getting more recognition, we are more visible in the political discourse or what have you. And trans people, meanwhile, are trying to argue for the right to have their identity respected, to have the right to have transitional healthcare, to, yeah, compete in fucking sports. Get over it. And just, like, you know, have the capacity to live according to things that we already have available to us that are being taken away from us, or in some cases, well, yeah, it's quite literally. It's stuff that's already, you know, medically available and all these other things that are just being taken away from trans people. What the fuck is happening? What is that? What is happening? Get rid of the trans panic defense as well? Yeah. I'm amazed that even still exists. Had to recharge your mobile data plan. Well, I hope that went well. Yes, the right to not be on a waiting list for 1,000,000 fucking years. Exactly, that kind of thing. And the specific comment from this person, I shouldn't have closed the tab. Stepped away. Oh, we're talking about a YouTube comment on my video about Maya Forstater. How about I go through some of the rest of the thread with this person? Because it's always just a they keep using the same old arguments. Sex is not a spectrum. We're sexually dimorphic as a species. They clearly don't understand what sexual bimodalism is. You can fight, scream, wail, call it outmoded and outdated. Again, science changes. The data of science changes. What we believe now, thanks to scientific study, is different to what we believed 50 years ago, mate. They say XX and XY is a fact, which is, I'm pretty sure chromosomes don't determine a person's gender. And then they go, please don't insult me with the intersex sophistry. They keep using the word sophistry. I need to look up what sophistry is. The use of clever but false arguments. So, completely just denying the existence of intersex people. They just don't want to acknowledge that intersex people exist. And it's time you guys accepted it. How you feel or what you believe your gender to be is, well, quite frankly, it's none of my business. You're right, so why do you keep writing? This person keeps going. I could, show you the thing. Clever but false. Yeah, I guess, like, it's a play on... So this is the person here. You think yourself a woman? Yeah, I am. Thank you. This is so important to you that you've changed your whole life in the hope other people will see you too, but the vast majority of people don't see you that way, and I very doubt they ever will. You have that cup? You have my cup? You like my cup? It's a good cup. God, not being forced to essentially detox off HRT because some steroid legislation would have been great. What do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean. And then, of course, they get into the argument, compelled speech is coercive control, a bunch of buzzwords. Forces someone to say something that they know to be untrue. Yeah, I'm not going to put it in the microwave. I've had this thing for a decade. I'm not getting rid of it. I got it from ThinkGeek a while ago, but I don't know if they're still available or if you can even get the same style of one. Yeah, the handle is I don't think is it metal? I don't know if it's metal. Anyway, they're going on about... Yeah, compelled speech thing. Maya or anyone else saying that you are not a woman is simply stating a fact. Well, no, it's not. Again, woman and man are gender roles. That fact might hurt you, but them's the breaks, and I hate this. They keep ending their comments with this. It's time to adult now. Oh, good lord, it's so cringe. It's time to adult now, everyone. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to be a tranny anymore. It's time to adult now. And then they go, present yourself as a woman all you like, but you will not compel our speech. And then I've made the argument. Hello, Gunky, how you doing? How old is this woman? I'm assuming it's a woman. I don't know how old they are. I gotta get my damn slippery things off because they're blah. Anyway, I got one off. Anywho, they continue, and I said this to them because they use the compelled speech argument, right? And I said, you realize the compelled speech argument can just be flipped back around on you, right? Did they not understand that? It's like they're saying that we're trying to compel their speech. Meanwhile, what exactly is this person doing? They're trying to change all of my perspective and force me the gaslighting, which... Oh, I thought they mentioned gaslighting in here. No, they said gnashing of TRA teeth. Trans rights activists. Oh, scary. But yeah, they're saying that trans people are trying to enforce compelled speech legislation primarily. But, you know, it's an entirely fallacious point to bring up compelled speech in any of these kind of situations. It's essentially a way to just say to your opponent, what you're saying doesn't align with my view of reality, therefore your statements are wrong. Right? That's what they're getting at with the compelled speech thing, is they want the ability to deny reality. Yeah, politicians don't like us. What are they talking about? And it continues on. I mentioned about how they deny intersex people's existence, and you did not determine another person's identity. I saw a meme on YouTube about British gangsters. The same people saying this are the same people that 3 years ago were complaining about using adult as a verb. Have we had the movie called Adulting yet? Somebody was speculating that eventually we're going to get a movie called Adulting. I don't know if it ever came to fruition. Like, people were imagining because the phrase adulting was such a common vernacular at the time. Mad Baron TV, welcome to the Rogue Room. How you doing? And they, yeah, somebody made the joke. It's like, someone is going to copyright this, trademark this, and we're going to get a shitty, I don't know. What kind of a movie would it be? Some kind of an awful comedy about someone learning to adult. And then they keep going on. I asked you not to insult me with the intersex sophistry. Literally, the science suggests intersex people exists. This person just doesn't want to... Yeah, I was thinking rom-com. Everyone thinks rom-com. Oh, goodness. And then they bring up one. I love when they bring up a single example. This person of the Intersex Alliance points out she doesn't have a cervix. She was born without one, but that doesn't mean she isn't 100% female. Literally using their own argument against them, which they love to throw out the biological, not imperialism, the biological, what's it called? Hang on a sec. Blah. What was the phrase I'm looking for? Essentialism, biological essentialism. This kind of person is the kind of person who uses biological essentialism to conclude their arguments. Where they say, you're only a male if you've got these parts, you're only a female if you've got these parts, right? And yet they bring up somebody who was born intersex, who... I'm assuming, judging by the phrasing that they've put out here, is that this person identifies as a woman, you know, and yet they're just, you know, they're breaking their own argument with it. Comedic picture of the heteronormic romantic variety, adulting the movie. Guy pulling out every kind of knife from his pants, starting with small knives, and eventually pulls out a scimitar. I feel like I've seen that one. And then, again, secondly, like, let's just keep going here. Secondly, the whole "it's my identity." The writing has been on the wall for that has been on the wall for that absolutist sophistry. Again, this fucking I hate this word. I already hate this fucking word, sophistry. Trans is not something someone is. Trans is something someone does. That's gender, you fuckwit. Anyway, and third, you say you can flip my argument. You can't, and I believe you know that too. What is? Again, they've just asserted knowledge, information onto me. Okay, sophistry. Can we go? We'll Google sophistry. So yeah, it's a fallacious argument, basically. The use of clever but false arguments, especially with the intention of deceiving. And this person's behavior in all of this. An entire article is sophistry. You mean the comments we're reading? Psst, hey, want to do some trans? I am not forcing you to use my rules. I'm just telling you I will not use yours. That's the problem, though. It's like, I have to, like, I'm not forcing you to use my rules. I'm just telling you I will not use yours. This is just absurd. It's not my rules. And we shouldn't, this is the thing. Putting all the science aside and they're stupid, it's time to adult now bullshit. I'm not even going to bother continuing with this because they're just annoying and they refuse to listen. But we shouldn't have to justify our existence to these people. Yet they constantly want us to. Anyway, I'm going to run another ad break really quickly. Just because we've got to make sure the, ads don't interrupt people who are just tuning in. Yeah, honestly, Epo, exactly. It's like, why are you engaging in this discussion? Why are you coming in here and attacking trans people and trying to literally deny them who they are? Like, this person is quite literally denying trans people's identity directly, and intersex people's identities. There are people who are, yes, there are intersex men, intersex women, whose, bodies don't function, or are, missing certain components or what have you, or combinations of different sexual organs. And these people just refuse to acknowledge that intersex people exist. Like, they literally do exist. It's scientifically demonstrable. Big trans. Big trans. It is bully mentality. It is. I'm a member of Big Trans. Specifically, really big trans. Swole trans. Big swole gang. Oos. I'm just giving away the free flexes tonight. Oh, look at that. It's firm. That's hard. It's like that. Yeah, they really want you to believe what they're saying. They really want to push that on you. How you doing, Robbie? You're an empath. Sometimes you can tell how people are feeling simply by deciding how I think they feel in my mind and instantly believing it. Epo, yeah, have a good one. Have a good day tomorrow. Enjoy yourself. Don't stress out too much. Have an absolutely lovely one. Love how I bring the fight. I try. I worry that I don't have all the information, though, when it comes to these kinds of discussions. And some of them do have arguments that would seem convincing to somebody who's outside the discussion, is the problem. So when it comes to the transphobic bullshit, a lot of the time I have to think to myself, well, how do I respond to this? And then I'd probably have to spend X amount of time. What's it called? Doing research on counter arguments to whatever bullshit they're saying this week. Linky, you like my hair today? Thank you. I'm quite a fan of it. I like it. Cute little ponytail with my pink scrunchie. I need more scrunchies. I don't have enough scrunchies. But they're nice. Oh, anywho's. Yeah, do you like the new emote? I like the new emote. The lips of fire. This is my chocolate lipstick. I like this lipstick. Quite frankly, this is my main one at the moment. I get around in this, If I feel like looking a little bit nice but not doing a full face of makeup, I put eyeliner, mascara, and this lipstick. And that's it. And it's such a good thing. Let me tell you. We'll do some news. We'll do some news in a minute. Because there is a news story I want to get into. But let me tell you. Let me think for a second. Yeah, laser facial hair removal. I was having my doubts a little while back that it was actually working because there were certain dark spots on my face where I'm just like, it doesn't really look, I've still got to put, coverage, makeup coverage on it. Is it working? And then today, when did I shave yesterday? Like in the morning. I shaved in the morning yesterday, I think after I got back from the gym or whatever. And then, I got up this morning and I said to myself, I don't need to shave today. I'm looking at my face and I'm like, there's no like very light stubble or anything. I get through to, 6:30 p.m. today. Still barely anything. It is the best feeling in the fucking world. I still did shave. However, just, chef's kiss. Absolutely marvelous. Truly. Anywho, there's a thing here that's going on at the moment. You might be familiar with Caitlyn Jenner. We're going to do a little bit of we're going to look at some clips from her interview on Sean Hannity, which have been posted by Aaron Rupar on Twitter. Looking at the results you've gotten, you've decided they fucked your laser up? Really? How many sessions did you do? I think I'm on my 8th or 9th that I've just gone through. I can't remember exactly how many I've had. But they may well have. It's possible. I don't know how it exactly works. But I know recently they did turn up the laser intensity. So now when I go in and get it done, it's a lot more painful. Grimpy Coffee, welcome to the Rogue Room. How are you doing? Alright, let's talk about this. Let's turn the music off for a bit, and we'll have a bit of a discussion about Caitlyn Jenner and running for California, and this in particular, this tweet. I'm just going to watch the video, but just like if you read this, it's unhinged. Oh shit, hang on, we're muted. Give me a sec, let me turn the volume up over here as well, so that we've got a little bit of volume boost going on. Alright, here we go.
California. My friends are leaving California. Actually, we're at my hangar. The guy across right over from me, he was packing up his hangar. I said, where are you going? And he says, I'm moving to Sedona, Arizona. I can't take it here anymore. I can't walk down the streets and see the homeless. I don't want to leave. Okay, either I stay and fight or I get out of here.
Her friend over in the neighboring hangar, well, with their private jets and stuff. Her friend over in the neighboring hangar is moving to Arizona because he doesn't like looking at the homeless people. I'm going to become Vlad the Impaler. This is fucking stupid. Holy shit. Like, just on what level is that a normal thing that anyone should say? The disconnect. Is this some bougie problem I'm too poor to comprehend? She just wants to move the homeless out of sight, not actually help them. Yeah. Exactly. This is the problem, is they keep, cities in America and across the world, actually, uniformly, are implementing measures to keep the homeless away from like public benches and under overpasses and other areas where they could freely, comfortably, sleep because they've got nowhere to go. And the solution is affordable housing for the homeless and give them some kind of a welfare situation where they are actually taken care of. Why is she even running? Does she want some kind of book deal? She's not, she's probably not going to win. But this is just, Caitlyn Jenner is just another facet of the conservative agenda, really. Like, she's just, quite frankly, the only reason she's even running. Again, the trans thing is a major wedge issue right now. And her running for the Republican Party is going to sow even more division, especially when we get into the trans sports thing that we're going to watch a clip of in a moment. There should be, here we go. We'll get into this. Like, the entire reason, I don't think she cares if she gets in or not. She's going to act like she cares. She's going to act like she really wants to be the governor of California. But at the end of the day, she only exists for the Republican Party's sake to sow even more division around this transgender issue. And she doesn't care. She doesn't care about, the poor trans kids who are going to get trampled on and ostracized and lose their access to healthcare and all of this kind of stuff. She doesn't care about the trans kids that are going to lose their, ability to freely exist. She's only there to make things worse for trans people as a whole by continuing to, the Republican base already has a lot of these notions around trans people, or at least Republican politicians in the US typically have these viewpoints and are trying to push this legislation as much as possible. By having somebody like Caitlyn Jenner as a representative for the Republican Party, that gives that party more of a chance to spread their particular ideology around trans people to their base. And that's all this is about at the end of it. Can you drop a link? You can drop a link, yeah. We're just going to watch this one now.
But
Okay.
girls, transgender sports, people that like Joy that say the wrong thing.
Caitlyn is our Candace Owens. Holy fuck, that's a good comparison, actually. I know I should probably stop comparing trans issues to race issues, but the parallels are so obvious. The parallels are immediately apparent, honestly.
Joy that says, I mentioned a second ago, my mom sometimes, when she gets upset, I don't have a problem with that. The community has a bigger problem with that than I do. I stick with my statements that I made. I think we have to make sure that the integrity of girls' sports is there. I think that's extremely important.
Do you think that's extremely important, though? This is a party that, when have they ever mentioned anything about the integrity of girls' sports? Or Blair White is probably our Candace Owens. Yeah, as a social commentator from that perspective, I suppose. Candace Owens isn't exactly running for government. So yeah, Blair White's probably a better comparison. But when have they ever cared about girls' sports? Why is this suddenly an issue? Yeah, unaware integrity was being threatened. It's not. There's literally no threat to anyone's integrity.
But it's...
Gotta start your day now. Radio Detroit, have a good one. And also the integrity thing, as, just continuing on that for a moment. Let's not act like sports in any capacity has ever been about, integrity. It's an inherently unfair system. The whole thing about sports is designed to be, and even just the, let me think for a second. Do we have to consider the fact that elite athletes, by and large, come from wealthy families? If they are that worried about the integrity of sports, are they going to address the fact that the majority of these athletes that are competing at the top level come from wealthy families that have the opportunity to, get these kids into serious training and more than likely PEDs and dietitians and coaches and all of this kind of stuff, all these privileges that many other athletes never get the chance to deal with. They don't address that, lack of integrity in that department. But anywho, how people treat and talk about the black community is very similar to how trans and other LGBT people are treated. Exactly. At the end of the day, we're not the status quo. Black people are not the status quo. Trans people are not the status quo, or queer people in general. And as a result, we're easy to ostracize. It's unfortunate that conservatives have someone they can bash lefties over the heads with. See, we have one of your trans people that takes our side. Exactly. Yeah, with Blair White. Yeah, you got 2 versus the overwhelming majority. 2 with platforms versus how many of us that don't really have platforms.
There's more to it than just what I...
And yet the Olympic sports thing. I'm sorry. I'll stop interrupting Caitlyn in a moment. We'll come back on that. But a friend of mine linked me a TikTok today of a trans woman talking about the trans sports thing, which, ended with, Carpe, hello.
Welcome, friend.
That ended with the mention of the financial elitism in sports. The people who have, the only reason they're successful in sports is because they had the money to pay for all of the privileges of training, coaching, and all of that. Here we go. White men being okay. Welcome to the Rogue Room. Null Mage. Carpe, how'd your stream go, friend? How'd it go? What'd you get up to tonight? Tell us all about it. We're just doing a bit of a not discourse. I suppose it's discourse. We're discussing the Caitlyn Jenner situation. The Caitlyn Jenner Hannity interview, which is probably going to get my channel demonetized if I turn this into a video on YouTube, but, crossover episode. How's it going? By all means, keep interrupting Caitlyn. I will keep interrupting Caitlyn. A lot about the Biden vaccine IP take. Oh, I was going to look into that tonight. That sounds interesting. Was Caitlyn getting bored out of being out of the spotlight for a while? Yeah, probably. Strikes me as an attention seeker. Any excuse to dump on Caitlyn is good. True. True. Hello, Princess Terra. How you going? This is my raid reaction. We put colored lights on. Would like to refund this discourse, please. So would I. I'm so tired of her already. I haven't seen her face in years, and now all of a sudden she's doing this shit. Yeah, Caitlyn supporting anti-trans stuff is a big, big oof. Let's continue. It's fucking woeful. We're just watching clips. We're not watching the whole thing. We're not watching the whole interview. At any rate.
There's more to it than just what I said, because I just said biological boys in sports. There's more to it than that. And I think in the future...
Again, they keep using the phrasing biological boys and biological girls, biological men, biological women. Those are not biological terms. Man, woman, boy, girl are gender terms. They're not biology terms.
Sure, I will explain more of that. But for me, as a...
oh, by the way, notice the cop-out. Hang on, let me come back a second.
As a trans woman, I think role models are extremely...
Hang on, I missed it.
Explain more to it than that. And I think in the future, I will explain more of that.
Yeah, I think in the future, I will explain more of that. What, you're having an interview right now. Why don't you explain it now to us, Caitlyn? Why don't you explain that to us now, Caitlyn? You're having an interview. You're on the world stage on Fox News. What's keeping you? You know, they're giving you all the time in the world. Just you could explain it now. We'll wait. Please explain it.
But for me, as a...
No, you have the spotlight.
a
Caitlyn,
trans woman.
Caitlyn, just explain it.
I think role models are...
The equivalent of a TikTok like the vid for a part 2. And yeah, they deliberately conflate sex and gender. They do. To confuse their audience. You know, they deliberately deny the science of things.
Extremely important for young people. Trans issues people struggle with big time. Our suicide rate is 9 times higher than the general public.
Why do you think, perchance, the suicide rate is 9 times higher than that of the general public, Caitlyn? Just curious. Could it have something to do with... let me think. What's the word I'm looking for here? I do find myself a mite curious if perhaps ostracism might have something to do with that. Ostracism, which would be encouraged by excluding transgender teens from school sports. Mayhap. But, what would I know? I'm just a lowly trans person on the internet.
And for me to be a role model for them, to be out there, I am running.
No, that was... I knew the word from the beginning. I had ostracism in my head, and I'm like, let's do a bit. No GOP group is supporting her candidacy. Oh, really? I did not know that. Okay. That makes things interesting. I wish anyone who was spouting this shit would realize that the NCAA has a policy on this. They are fine with trans men, women, and people in whatever sport team they choose. Yeah, exactly. And the IOC as well has allowed trans people to compete in the Olympics since 2003, provided they've been on HRT for at least 2 years. Cart Dog TV, welcome to the Rogue Room. How you doing? And we didn't lose a war against ostracism. It was emus. Anyway, and there is not a single transgender Olympian medalist since 2003. So the argument falls apart. Emusism.
For governor of the state of California, who would have ever thunk that? We've never even had a woman.
They've never even had a woman governor. How many Republicans do you bet? Let's just set this 5 years ago. You know? How many... I mean, hell, now. Just now, how many Republicans do you think are looking at Caitlyn Jenner running for governor and saying something like California has never had a woman governor, and those Republicans are saying to themselves, well, if you get in, it still wouldn't have had a woman governor? I guarantee you, it looks like she is. Like, it looks like she legitimately is, but we're hearing that she's not really supported. What was it that was said? I missed what was it before? The GOP. No GOP group is supporting her candidacy, which means, women Republicans are fascinating. I know it's really strange to think about, but internalized misogyny or what have you.
Governor.
But some are mad at you.
I don't, I move on. I want to be a role model, and I think and to be a leader. And I think the most important thing as a leader that you can do is your compassion, your honesty, and I think that sometimes is very lacking.
Yeah, it's lacking with regards to the homeless.
In politics. So I want to be an example to all people, not just trans people, that this is what you can do.
Why on the sports side of it, though?
This is what you can do if you, have a fuck ton of money and you're an Olympic gold medalist or whatever the fuck. She would be better than Arnie. I don't know what Arnie did while Arnie was governor of California. And by role model, she means a model for how to roll over and give up in the face of bigotry. Hello, Haley. Caitlin Hun, you literally have no idea about the reality. Fascinating is a weird way to say traitor or foe, but it's an interesting discussion to have around Republican women, honestly. I think there are certain issues that, are not specifically gendered, but there is so much misogyny amidst the Republican ideology, I suppose you could say, where it's like, why would a woman go for this? You'd think. Should buy a yacht and stay on it where she can't hurt others.
Why don't I what?
How you came down on the sports side of the issue?
I don't know why, to be honest with you. I don't know why they keep asking that. What do you think, Sean? I don't know. Why do they keep asking me that question?
Great question.
Why do you? It's the same reason any trans person is ever asked about the sports question. Also, the thing was like, what was it? She ran across some paparazzos on the highway or something like that, and they asked her about it. It's like, yeah, sure, that wasn't completely staged.
It is a good question, but we can deal with that. There's more problems here in the state of California than that. Yeah.
Well, understood, and there are. I want.
Okay, so that's that one. There's a little bit of that one. Welcome to the Rogue Room, Super Ronzilla. How you doing, mate? What's going on? Forest management is extremely important. Caitlyn Jenner's comments about wildfires reminds a lot of what Trump used to say about them. Should we watch this one? I don't know a particular lot about the forest management situation. What we need is people leading society are people that know what the fuck goes on beyond millionaires and elitist shit. Caitlyn is not one of those people. Sean Hannity is soft on her. That's what I've gleaned. I've heard that he's much more of a rough and tumble kind of interviewer. It isn't a good question. There are 0 good people in that clip. Do you mean in the forest management thing?
Gets away from them, they can't.
Would you allow?
Is it going to let me zoom in? Why is this so low quality?
Isn't there a science behind?
Yeah, she has an
forestry?
on-explains. It'll be nice.
Is that science being ignored in this state?
Yeah.
Gets away from them, they can't.
Would you allow controlled burns? Isn't there a science behind forestry? Is that science being ignored in this state?
Yes.
Because when I watch it, it breaks my heart. I lived in Santa Barbara. I watched Hope Ranch burn down after I had just left the state.
Yes. Yes, forest management is extremely important. Yeah. Just like at my house, and it's not even forest management at my house. The reason my house made it, because they say you have to keep any brush 50 or 75 feet. I think I had 75 feet clearance. When the fires came, they just went around my house so fast, it was gone because it's moving very fast. So it's almost the same thing for forest management, just a little bit of preparation, and my house made it. But 5 houses around me were burnt to the ground. Lives were destroyed.
We now
gets away from them, they can't.
I mean,
would you allow control?
I'm not quite sure what to read into that. I would need to, aside from the fact that she's gloating about the fact that her house survived, which reminds you a lot of what Trump used to say about them, Aaron. What is that? I'm assuming that means that it kind of, the way that whole thing is to get rid of trees, pretty much. The attitude she's espousing is like, look, everything's fine for me. It's me, I'm doing good. Better House had 12 fire trucks pouring water on it. We will burn everyone's home that has a gender reveal party as a preemptive measure. I've noticed a lot of trans people don't like Caitlyn. She's not the Candace Owens of trans people. She's the Vuvuzela of trans people. I can understand not liking her. Yeah. Legal immigration. Wonders why high-speed rail is needed. Explanation of why she thinks Trump did a good job. Did a better job than Biden is doing. I want to see this one.
We've had 4 years of Donald Trump. We have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Give me your assessment of those three people.
Hang on. No. Notice the lack of a mention. Mentions Donald Trump, and then Biden and Harris. Doesn't mention Mike Pence in there at all. Problem with Vuvuzela comparisons is those have cultural significance. Yeah, true, I suppose. Who's Caitlyn? Caitlyn Jenner, who is a notable transgender person who is allegedly running for a Republican. What is it? The seat of governor in California. Pence was invisible. What did Mike Pence do?
What I liked about Donald Trump is he was a disruptor. You know, he came in and shook the system up. Okay, a lot of people didn't like that.
Yeah, because he did bad shit. Going to try to run in the recall election against Gavin Newsom. This is where I'm not certain about the exact specifics of these kinds of things. Could you possibly explain that to me, Carpe, by any chance? In, like I'm 5.
Washington, D.C. But he came in and shook the system up. I think he did some things that I agreed with, some things I didn't
Disruptor is a weird way to pronounce bigot, true.
agree with.
You were critical on transgender issues.
On trans issues, LGBT issues, I was more hopeful at the beginning. But there were some good things he did. On the other hand, Biden, I don't think I've agreed with anything. I don't think since he's been in there, he has done anything for the American worker, maybe other ones. So it is a 180 degree.
Yeah, good things he did like what? A recall election is like a vote of no confidence in a sitting politician's performance. Oh, okay. A lot of people don't like that. There's more is forgetting that she complained about him when he banned trans people in the military. I forgot about that. Forest fires wouldn't be a big deal if people did what I did. Also, Caitlyn, homeless people need to just buy a house.
Degree turn in our country, going the other direction, and it scares me.
Yeah, banning trans people from the military when you should just ban everyone from the military. Load this lady. She's willing to throw other queer folks under the bus. You know why she's willing to throw queer folks under the bus? It's because she had no problem running someone over and leaving them to die either. Anyway, they said they did the same thing to Democrat Gray Davis in the early 2000s. Biden hasn't done anything for the American worker. Also, his efforts for queer rights thus far don't count. Queer people aren't American workers. It's how Arnold Schwarzenegger became California governor. Oh, I see. He actually did do some things that are good, such as raising the minimum wage for all federal workers. No dump for Biden, but that was still good. Biden is right on gun control, wrong on green issues, right on ethnic issues. Please elucidate if you don't mind. I'd like to know more. You could tell even Hannity is embarrassed by this. Here's this one.
Caitlyn Jenner, thank you for being with us.
It was my pleasure. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Sean.
Good to talk to you. Good to see you again.
Now, we're going to go find my plane around the corner. I'm going to take you for a flight.
I'm going right, wheels up any minute. All right. All right. Thank you for your time.
Oh, God.
We wish you nothing but the best. We're going to follow this race closely. Final, Caitlyn.
That was so awkward. You could tell how detached she is from all of these issues. You could tell how just... Yeah, this is definitely... She's running on like a class platform. And it's... Yeah, you can tell how detached she is from so much. I am curious to see where this goes, if she will get in, if she will get... Yeah, she just joked about flying home with a private jet. Yes, she did. See, the thing is, I'm only, learning all of this kind of stuff. What's it called? I'm only, sort of just getting into the politics of America, so I'm not intimately familiar with all the past stuff. Yeah, gotta love bougie fuckers, right? Exactly. It's astounding to me, honestly. Emperor Lagoon, welcome to the Rogue Room. It's astounding to me that there are people like her that are just so detached from the plight of the common person. The plight of those who are so far beneath them on the economic tier list, on the economic ladder. They're way, way, way further down. And they think they have any right to even remotely comment on it. And, you know, there's a special by Ellen DeGeneres. I don't recommend you watch it. I watched it with a friend who makes significantly more money than me. And she was able to laugh at a lot of the jokes about being a rich person, because this entire stand-up set was about the fact that Ellen DeGeneres is so fucking rich. It was her own stand-up set. And I laughed along with it because of the absurdity of the notion, but internally I was like just dying at the thought of a rich person making so many jokes about how rich they are. I'm just like, it's kind of punching down. You know, it's just sort of standing up above the common folk and going, my servants. They said something funny to me the other day in their Muslim accent. Like, it's just, can't stand rich fucks. What is the chance that Jenner is elected governor? Sounds horrible. Yeah, I am actually curious. What is the chance that because judging by what some of you have said, yeah, I said Muslim accent on purpose. That's how detached these bougie white fuckers are. And yes, Ellen is absolutely cringe. She's never been funny. Some of you have said things in chat that have made me think she doesn't have a chance of getting in. But what are the odds? What's our bet? What's our bet that she gets in? You know, I'm curious. Because I am not intimately familiar with how this process goes in the United States. You think 5%? How about we do it this way? Actually, hang on. Give me a second. There we go. There's a poll. No, kill me, please. I just pressed cancel. Conservative voters, fuck it. I won't do it. Anyway. Low but not zero. Less than 20%. Conservative California is fucking wild. There's a possibility. Okay. California is left-wing, not as much as you'd think. Yeah, I know they are blue states. That doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot, though. Here we go. Let's do it again. Oh, hang on. Yeah, vote on this for me. Give me your just really basic opinion on this. Pre-roll ads are on. I'm just going to quickly run an ad break, sorry, to disrupt the stream. But I'm trying to keep mid-rolls out of the stream by running mid-rolls. So, my apologies, folks. So, not at all. It's got 2. Unlikely. It's got 2. Maybe is a 3. People would vote for a trans person if that person is just a puppet they can use. True. California is purple. That's kind of worrying considering the population, but I suppose it makes sense. The blue parts are still highly capitalist. Those bits about being rich seem like manufactured self-deprecating humor. Yeah. Should have been product tested. Say that after you've just been uncalled for transphobic opinion. I missed that whole thing. I'm sorry. I missed that whole thing. I don't generally appreciate any sort of transphobic remarks in my chat. And even if you dislike Caitlyn Jenner, let's hammer this in right now. No matter how much you dislike Caitlyn Jenner, don't dead name her, don't misgender her or anything like that, because that still shows disdain for trans people as a whole, you know. That's one thing I will always stand 100% firmly behind, is you know, don't treat trans people's identity as something you can punish them with. I've had that happen with a certain person, you might know who I'm referencing. One time, she was angry at me, not Caitlyn Jenner, and she called me my dead name. And I was like, I was furious. I was fuming. It's like, you don't have the right to that name. You know, literally just learned the term dead name. I will say, there was a joke I was considering doing, and I shouldn't do this. I should not do this. I've considered adding an emote to my stream called Dead Name, which is a picture of his face. You know what I mean? A maybe with 7 votes, unlikely with 6, not at all with 5. No highly likelies or likelies. Interesting results. What do we think of those? I mean, we are just a small stream on Twitch. It's not exactly like I'm blowing it out of the water here. I'm not determining the outcome of a reference to... I'm not determining the outcome of a gubernatorial election in California. Anyways. Yeah, her looks, her voice, her gender literally has zero relevance towards what trans people are upset with about Caitlyn, which is the misrepresentation of trans people. She is, unfortunately... Caitlyn Jenner is seen as a person that is representative of the trans community. And that's the problem, especially when you think about her viewpoints that she's espoused here. More intense political situations aside, just the discussion on the trans stuff, the remarks she's made about trans people, the dismissal of, say, pronouns or dead names or what have you. I don't know what she used to compete in the Olympics. That was years and years ago. I've forgotten. Was she a runner? Swimmer? I don't know. I'm not saying leftists are great on trans issues, but at least we consider trans people humans, yeah. There's a whole lot of... I think she was a runner. Anyway. Dead naming people like Jenna basically screams, I'll stab you in the back too when the time comes. Essentially, yes. And there are far too many people who see Caitlyn Jenner as the trans person. You know, when people... If you bring transgender discourse into the discussion with whatever group, Caitlyn Jenner is one of those people who will come up, generally speaking. If you're around a group of people who don't generally consider trans issues, Caitlyn Jenner is one of those people that will come into the discussion. And as a result, there are many people out there who are not particularly informed on trans issues who will look to her and think, well, she's trans, therefore her opinions must be shared by the majority of other trans people, right? Even though that's entirely not how that works, you know? Used to be a race car driver at some point too. Jesus, what a career. Hello, Tiny Dancer. How you going? Famous people, even with no experience in even more with no experience in politics or any social causes, as an activist, should be more careful with what they put out there on the telly. It's a tricky area to walk, I think. Because famous people have significant audiences, of course. Have significant platforms, which makes it easier for them to get their message out. If they want to do something, if they want to say something, they can do it. You know? Who was the worst pick me trans? Jenner or Blair White? That panel Blair was on where they treated her like shit and she just sat there and took it. I only saw that clip where the woman mentioned that being trans is a pipeline to pedophilia, and Blair White just fucking sat there. And I'm like, she just fucking sat there, didn't say a thing. Didn't interject. Maybe it wasn't her turn to speak. I don't know. But as far as I know, what I've read about that particular circumstance is she never addressed it either. When it was her turn to speak on that particular podcast. Or panel or whatever. She never addressed that particular thing. It's like, you have to have some semblance of dignity for your identity, right? You have to have something there, Blair. You can't be that callous, surely, as to just let something like that slide. Hello, Chloe. How you doing? Depends on the famous person. You're always down for an anti-war rock song, yeah. Much as some people disagree with some of Rage Against the Machine's politics, I'm still more likely to listen to Tom Morello than a number of other famous people who get involved in politics. Yeah, she just called you a future pedo. Like, that's quite literally what she did. Made you so upset and you hate Blair White, yeah. If the whole chat is saying what you were saying is not good, it's not good. Stop digging. Yeah, I agree. There's no point to push the issue. Rage Against the Machine is based. I do agree. I've heard some people speculating weird things about them after, you know, the peak of their popularity or what have you. Yeah, one of the best things about leftists is at least we appreciate people as human beings. Ideally, there are a number of leftists who are all too keen to destroy someone because they that person said something that might have been a bit contrarian. Tom has earned the right for his voice to be heard. Oh, absolutely. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's pretty much covered everything that we can really say at the moment. I guess we'll follow this story to its ultimate conclusion. When's the election? When will we get the results? When will we know who's going to be elected? I don't know any of that information just yet. 12-year-olds on Twitter don't count. They make us look awful. That's the unfortunate thing about social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook even. Primarily Twitter, because Twitter is definitely infested by a younger audience that can just hide behind anonymity and can form an audience, can form a platform, and then, use that influence to, I don't know, get someone suspended or whatever, or, try to effectively ruin another person's place in, I don't know, the social identity. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Overlord. There are it's not just 12-year-olds, there are adults that are pieces of shit human beings. Believe me, I've been around quite a few of them. I am entirely familiar with them. It sucks. But anywho, neither here nor there, I suppose. But yeah, this let me have a look here. There's also an article on Deadline that talks about Jenna. But I don't think, I think we've pretty much covered everything that we need to about that whole thing. I don't see anything else particularly relevant there. Follow cool leftists on Twitter. Cough, cough, fucking pluck. I'm a cool leftist on Twitter. Transgender. Why have I never heard that one? I've heard that one a few times. You'll be heading to bed, Em. Radio, have a good one. Thank you so kindly for being here. It's just that Twitter creates that environment, especially not being able to have a full discussion because of the character limitation, and it turned into this war field. I know. Just imagine how things used to be back in the 140 character days. I mean, I suppose that's still a lot of characters at the end of the day. You can still do a fair bit with 140 characters, but, there was certainly a time where, we've got double the character count we have now, and threads and other things like that. And twitlongers. I feel like that just defeats the purpose of Twitter, if you're posting twitlongers. But, I don't know. Let me see here, because I've got some other news we can talk about. Oh, here's one. Twitlongers is basically where there's a website called Twitlonger. You connect your Twitter account to it. You post an entire, you've got 5,000 characters or whatever. You've got a significant amount of space. So if you want to post a tweet that has a ton of detail in it, you could either do a thread or you could do a Twitlonger. And the Twitlonger is, of course, just, paragraphs and paragraphs of fucking drama usually. And I just, almost every time I see a Twitlonger link, I roll my eyes into the back of my skull and pass out. I'm just that much at the point of just like, oh my god, not again. I know there are certain circumstances where Twitlongers are used to, people coming forward about, say, abuse situations or people coming forward about something traumatic. And that's all fine and good, but I've noticed that Twitlongers tend to skew heavily towards, I am now going to use this extensive essay to completely, start some bullshit that Twitter won't shut the fuck up about. Streamer Twitter, I fucking hate you. I hate streamer Twitter. Go fuck yourself. Anyway. Welcome to the Rogue Room, the only meme. How you doing? Nobody reading that shit. I ain't reading all that. I'm sorry for you. I'm happy for you, or I'm sorry that happened. Tom Morello created... Hang on, what have I missed? Super glad you've never been a part of Twitter. Stay away from it, it's awful. Looking at Facebook, you're not sure the character limit is a factor either way. Oh, Facebook discourse is a treat. Anyway, Tom Morello created the Night Watchman solo project to espouse his political views while doing more mainstream and accessible music with Audioslave. Fun fact you just looked up, his mother, Mary Morello, was an activist who in 1994, before Rage Against the Machine came on stage, introduced them as the best band in the fucking universe. That's awesome. Pretty based for an at-the-time 73-year-old woman. Oh, hang on. Like Madonna, if you want. She was very important for the LGBTQIA movement since the early 79s. 79s? 70s? Is that what you mean? She's not political, she's more into social movements for change and acceptance. That's political! The moment you're moving towards social change, that's how politics works. You have to use politics to cause that change. Not a fan of her, but I think she's done much more than Caitlyn Jenner. and only because she believes in personal freedom without having her horse in the game. It's still like, if you are rallying for in the 90s, okay, in the 90s, yeah, the whole going, activism is political by its definition, by its very definition. Maverick, did I read that correctly? Welcome to the Rec Room. How you doing? That is quite uniformly political in its own way. Like, attending rallies and attaching your name to social movements and using your platform to spread social messages of progress and things of that nature is all political in its own way, because it's trying to influence opinion on a broad scale and get people on your side, so that when it comes voting time, they will consider the opinions you've espoused and then go, and that'll inform their vote, sort of thing. Whether they're actually in a political seat or not is largely irrelevant. Every once in a while you think about checking your Twitter and then think, but why? Humble Ninja 43, welcome to the Rogue Room. I'm an idiot who's recently gotten back into Facebook, mainly for promotional reasons. And I'm like, I find myself checking the comments on news stories that come up on my timeline, and I'm like, especially if it's a mainstream media outlet and there's an article about, say, Elliot Page, I'm like, I'm gonna self-flagellate today and look at the Facebook comments. Can somebody get out the flail? I would like to hurt myself. I'm gonna go look at Facebook comments on a mainstream news media article about a trans person. Imagine promoting yourself on boomer social media. It does work for networking, though. Shockingly. I've met some cool people on some of these Facebook groups. Just off the top of my head, Grand Titania is really cool. Who else was there? Dozy Ho? Or Dozy Tron? I don't know. I think she was going to change her name. But at the moment, I think on Twitch, she's still Dozy Ho. There's quite a few people. Actually, T-San, the team that I'm in, not that I do much in the way of team activities. I'm a terrible team member. I'm sorry, Ivory. But I got into T-San via the Facebook page and then integrating into the community on Discord. Facebook for casting calls, nothing else. Well, that's something. Pretty much social media for your self-flagellation, pretty much. Yeah. Hello, Talon. How you doing? Promised yourself you'd never go on Twitter, and you've kept that promise to this day. Good. Stay that way. Had the first D&D session in a campaign you were invited to join last night. Nice. And your fighter took a morning star to the chest. Oof. Can we get some oofs in chat? I want a morning star. They look cool. I just want weapons. Can I have weapons? Oh, excuse me. Dropped his ass to 1 HP. Of course it did. That would fuck you up, dude. Kidding me? A morning star to the chest would kick the shit out of you. Do we do I want to do another story, but we've got break in 10 minutes. I'm like, do I do another story really quickly? Let's try. Let me have a look here. How about this? We'll glance at this one really quickly. Here's the official games industry response to the Four Corners report. For those of you who missed it, what's the best non-lethal self-defense weapon? When I find out, I'll let you know, because I am certainly looking into that recently. So for those of you who missed it, Four Corners did a report on the games industry in a broad sense, and it heavily focused on microtransactions and loot boxes and things of that nature. So ABC, a major mainstream media outlet here in Australia, Four Corners is a show they do, and if you look at it, the information is correct, right? The information that is presented about microtransactions and loot boxes and all that kind of predatory behavior is correct. However, it presents this narrative in such a way that this is video games. Like, this is all video games, right? So the narrative they were pushing on you, that Four Corners was pushing on you, is that the games industry is using predatory microtransactions and trying to take away as much money as possible, and that's all the games industry is, right? That's what they were talking about. That's the way that it's portrayed. We know, you and I know, I'm a gamer. I do the video games sometimes. I'm well aware of the way the games industry operates, and I'm well aware of the fact that there are many video games out there that do not feature these things. by choosing to focus on this specific thing, people who are not familiar with the games industry in depth, they're going to look at this and then think this is how all video games are. And that's the problem with this particular piece. So, anyway. Squarely targeting microtransactions and loot boxes in particular. The Interactive Games and Entertainment Association, IGEA, it's IGEA, folks, which represents game publishers and the wider games industry in Canberra, posted a 5-paragraph statement on their website this morning. Their CEO, Ron Curry, was the only representative of the games industry in the Four Corners report and website article, although the full video included footage and an interview from former mobile developer Torolf Jernstrom, the developer of the famous Let's Go Whaling presentation on microtransactions. Oh, I remember this shit. Have you folks seen this? This bloke? This dickhead? Who is, there's a good video, I'm just going to say right now, there's a good video by Jim Sterling. James Stephanie Sterling, that talks about this particular thing. We won't watch the whole thing now because it's 20 fucking minutes. And this guy is, essentially explaining the psychology behind how they use manipulative tactics to get people to buy loot boxes and to target people of certain incomes so that they are spending more than they need to, spending more than they have, kind of thing. To milk as much money from their consumer base as possible. In IGEA's response, the group claimed the Four Corner story provided unbalanced views and implications and wasn't reflective of the positive experience millions of Australians have with video games today. It also said all major platforms have controls to limit spending and games access to payment systems, including the ability to disable in-game purchases entirely. Interestingly, the statement also noted that the video game industry has started to disclose the drop rates for probabilities of randomized items in games, although that doesn't really highlight the fact that China's regulators led the way for this change 5 years ago, and it's only in recent years that the drop rates have become more open as regulators have pushed for more oversight. The full statement from IGEA is below. For decades, video games have been an incredibly popular and enjoyable pastime for those who play them. Now, let's just stop here for a second. When I first looked at this thing, I was like, okay, this is a good criticism of a bad facet of the games industry. But I read that from the perspective of somebody who has an informed opinion on the notions that the games industry operates on the ways the games industry operates. I'm informed on these things. But a lot of people who would be consuming this content, people who watch ABC and Four Corners, would not specifically be informed on the games industry. So their opinions would be unfairly and unjustly and imbalanced, given an imbalanced opinion, which is what it says here. Unbalanced views and implications. That's the problematic part of this whole thing. And yeah, I just didn't see it at the time because my particular perspective was one of, I already criticized the games industry. I'm well aware of this kind of stuff. And it's like, yes, this is good. Tell the people about all the bad things. Except they didn't highlight any of the good. The implications and assumptions made about games in the Four Corners piece last night are unbalanced and not reflective of the overwhelmingly positive and enjoyable experience the majority of players have when engaging with many different kinds of games available today. Through our Digital Australia research series, Australians have told us how video games helped their well-being. During COVID-19 in particular, people have increasingly turned to video games to stay connected to their family and friends, to keep their minds occupied, to relieve stress, to stay active, to find new ways to learn, and to cope with isolation. Many people have played video games for the first time during COVID-19 and experienced the positive effects that games can have on their lives. We are committed to being a responsible industry, and all of us take seriously the role we have to play in mitigating any risk to children, vulnerable people, and players. Our members want players to be in control of the experience they are having, and to be able to make informed choices about the games they play, how they play them, how much and whether they spend, and how much time they choose to play. All major platforms have controls to limit spending and access to credit cards, including the ability to turn off in-game spending entirely. All major app stores further provide specific consumer advice to indicate if a game or app offers in-game spending. There are also games that provide specific tools for players to monitor or limit gameplay and in-game spending, while some developers have published specific design principles around the use of in-game spending. The global video games industry has recently taken additional steps to provide transparency through the disclosure of the relative rarity or probabilities of randomized items in games, also called drop rates. There are a vast range of tools and settings available in games and on platforms to help players and their parents and carers monitor their gameplay. We encourage all players, parents, and carers to become familiar with these tools. And if you want to see the Four Corners episode yourself, I didn't actually watch the episode. I saw the article on the ABC News website, which was interestingly laid out. But yeah, ultimately it was far too wordy. Just went on for ages and ages and ages. Anyways, it's become easy to fearmonger the boomers. Yeah, it's entirely unsurprising. AKA capitalism ruins a nice thing once again. Well, yeah, like, we can't have nice things. We know the video games industry has been going down the toilet in numerous respects and has been milking people like crazy. Again, I'm just going to bring up Jim Sterling, who is much... The Jimquisition is much better for explaining this to you than I am, but it's important to keep perspective on these kinds of things. And that particular perspective is that not every single game has microtransactions, not every single game is using these predatory techniques on their player bases. There are a lot of good games out there that provide a wealth of content for a very, very base price. And, you know, we do not need to... Like, this is just more video game fear-mongering. Video games have been dealing with this kind of stuff since video games have been a thing. We've had satanic panics in the video game industry. We've had people saying that, you know, the Columbine massacre was caused by video games because the shooters wrote it in their manifesto that it's going to be just like Doom. You know, video games are always going to be this pastime that is demonized in much the same way that film was and music has been, you know. There are still people to, like, you know, you look at the Montero situation, people losing their fucking minds because they don't understand the message and just making up something to be fearful of. But in this particular instance, what they've done is they've taken something that is an actual problem, which is the loot boxes, and then turned that into a narrative that says this is the entire industry. Whether they specifically said that or not, that's what people are going to get from it. Our NB Monarch, exactly. That's why you're a big fan of indies. I need to get into some more indies. There is a game that was recommended by Ale Chanted, I think. Yeah. And it looks very reminiscent of Heretic, like third person. Who played Heretic 2? Specifically Heretic 2. Was it Heretic 2? Yeah. Where you play as Corvus. A guy called Corvus, I think. Was it Corvus? Yeah. And it's a third person. It's not like the original Heretic, which is like Doom but fantasy. Where's my wish list? Let me find my wish list really quickly because I want to show you this game that got recommended to me, which I may play on Steam, on stream. How do I find it? How do I find my wish list? I can't. There it is. Found it. Well, I mean, Sekiro is of course at the top of my Steam wish list because Sekiro is bae. I like Sekiro. It's a good game. Also, I think I have Carry on Game Pass. Also, I think Bloodstained is also on Game Pass. I don't want to give that a crack. But where was it? Let me just scroll down to the bottom here. There's the DreadX collections. I have so many fucking video games. I keep coming back to this. Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's not Heretic that I'm thinking of. I have played the original Heretic, but only for a little bit. Because there was a little youth group I used to go to for troubled kids when I was in school. And there was a computer there that had Heretic installed on it, and I got to have a crack at it, and it was actually quite fun. Wouldn't mind replaying it. I'm trying to find this particular game, though, not Outlast. Enclave. This is it. This was released in 2003. Enclave is this, what it was described to me as is it's like very similar to Quake, but it's in this medieval fantasy setting. And I'm like, yeah, that fucking sounds awesome, dude. I want to play that. It's like $7.50. I might grab that. I am a troubled kid. I'm confused. I'm an adult. Shut up. JRPGs, I'm going to be an asshole here. I've never liked the JRPG genre. Oh, I feel bad because I know there's so many good JRPGs out there, but I've never gotten into them. What are some of the best games for the Switch? Honestly, Mario Odyssey is really good. Like, just as a bait, like that was the first game I got on the Switch because just seeing the gameplay of it was just like, that's pretty much the reason I'm getting a Switch. I do like cute games, I do. Depends on what the cute game is though. But yeah, I've honestly never been much a fan of, and I know not every JRPG does this, but JRPG is generally a game genre that uses turn-based combat, and I've never liked turn-based combat. I hate it with a passion. Like, I've tried to get into Pokemon on numerous occasions, and the turn-based shit just drives me up the wall. And yeah, Calico, I've heard good things about Calico. That's something I want to check out at some point. It looks really adorable. Let me put that. Is that one on Switch? I know it's on Steam. Is it on Switch? But it seems like a very, very cutesy, very positive game. You're basically making a cafe, a cat cafe, and you collect adorable animals. That's lovely. It looks lovely. I'm just gonna have a quick glance through my Steam wishlist really quickly to see what else I've got in here. I can't believe Cyberpunk is second on my list. You know what? Go away. I don't want Cyberpunk anymore. I don't care for it. I've heard that I should try Katana Zero. Loom is really cool. I forget, was I watching Fuzz playing Loom? I used to play Loom a bit when I was a kid. I've heard good things about A Plague Tale Innocence. I've already got No Man's Sky on PS4, so I'm not going to buy it on Steam again. Although I did have it on there because I wanted to buy it at some point and mod the shit out of it. Heard good things about Undertale. Devil May Cry 5 is one I'm definitely getting at some point. It's only $24.76 at the moment. I may grab that. Dark Messiah of Might and Magic is another one, where it's like I've played this a couple of times through already. It's quite good. Very similar kind of vibe. That sort of. This one is a first-person medieval fantasy setting kind of thing, which always strikes me as a unique concept, even though it's not. Obviously, Prince of Persia's on there. I'm gonna have to play Dead Space 2 at some point. Among the Sleep seems really cool, which is a horror-themed... It's a horror game where you play as a toddler. You're like a 3-year-old toddler, and it's a creepy, creepy horror game, and I really want to give it a go. Someone told me to download Quake Live or something, or Quake Champions, and I never got to play with them. I've heard good things about Vampire, or Vampire. Where were we? So what have I missed? Unity is Pog. Unity. Dark is an interesting looking one. Looks very bizarre. Vampire owns. Well, that's good. I've been told to check out Planescape Torment. Nier Automata is another one. Someone recommended Sally Face to me. It looks very bizarre. Visage, I've heard, is very reminiscent of PT, and that's why I want to give this one a crack. Let me think. Baba Is You seems fairly unique for its gameplay mechanics, because you do something with words. Like, objects in the world are words, and you do something with words. Like, Baba Is You is basically the gameplay mechanic. So if you say wall is door, you can walk through a wall, or something like that, essentially. Blasphemous is a bit of a 2D Souls-like with a very gruesome aesthetic to it. I forgot what Project Winter is. Doom Eternal is just more Doom. I should get that. I've heard iffy things about Amnesia Rebirth. Yeah, Baba Is You seems very adorable and creative, it does. You've officially killed a 12-pack of beer and haven't passed out and shit yourself. I want to voice train. I've sort of been doing it subconsciously a little bit. Little Nightmares 1 and 2. Yeah, I like what I've played of Little Nightmares 1. I haven't played the second one. I need to finish that first one. Superliminal seems really cool. That's the one where you've got like objects in the world and you got to grab them and you can move them around the environment and they will get larger if you position it towards the back of a room. It'll be a smaller object, but if you move it so that it's like on the wall next to you, you'll have like a little box. You put it on the wall next to you where it's like closer to your perspective, all of a sudden it's a huge box. I watched ContraPoints playing a bit of it and I'm just like, oh, it looks so cool. I've heard goodish things about Mortal Shell, but it's not on Steam yet. Fucking Epic Game Store exclusive bullshit. Golden Light is a super weird game I saw Jim Sterling playing. I forgot. Oh, I know what Post Void is. I think I saw Alana Pierce playing this. Super weird looking. Honestly, too flashy for me. What I've seen of it. Then we got the DreadX collection, which seems cool. Graven looks pretty cool as well. This one's not out yet. This one's coming. This is supposed to be very similar to Heretic. It's supposed to be like another Heretic-themed game, essentially. And yeah, the DreadX collections are interesting because they're a bunch of really small, short horror games that are developed by a team of a variety of developers. Hello, Voice Beast. How you doing? But yeah, I would like to voice train. I don't know if I could afford it though, honestly. Where are you? There you are. Alright. You're tired? I'm also a little bit tired. I'm not finishing though. I am going to take a break though because my cat wants to go out to pee, I think. And we'll come back in a moment. Don't go away, folks. I love your faces. Be kind to yourselves and each other. Is the way we do things. BRB, I also need to update the text on that damn bar already. I haven't done it yet. Here's an ad break. I'll be back in just a moment. Don't go away. Be nice. Yes, be fucking kind. I need to get one of those things where I can modulate my voice or whatever. I have returned. You know, one would think that I might try to make, you know, voices and things that are a little bit more feminine. Try to adjust my voice in that regard. I have a lot of voice dysphoria. Hello? Jesus. You're right. I have a ton of it. A fuck ton of it. And yet when it comes time to take the piss, what do? I make man voices. It's pouring rain outside. It was pouring rain today. And the thing that annoys me, it's a baby. The thing that annoys me, I really want to make that smudge spider thing into an emote. Oh, that'd be great. The thing that really annoys me, that I've forgotten now, thank you for interrupting. No, it's not your fault, folks. I just have terrible memory. What was I gonna say? Fuck. Yeah. The thing that annoys me is that, like, I think I've heard so many women, let's just say cis women, who do not have conventional cis women's voices. You know? Not what you would expect a woman to sound like, and yet I get so concerned about my own voice. You know, knowing that maybe it's the fact that, you know, the women that are predominant in my life, my mother, my sister, my auntie, my grandmother, like family members, friends, they all have particularly distinctly feminine voices. So I guess there's that comparison I have to make between them and myself, where it's like, they sound correct, why don't I? Read from OSP. What's OSP? Has quite a deep voice. And then there's, you know, I can never remember her name. The lady that did the song You Have a Fast Car. I don't know what the song's called. But you know when I say that, you know what song I'm thinking of. That's a woman's voice. Overly sarcastic productions. Okay. I sound correct. That's the thing, right? It's like, I'm talking like this right now. This sounds fine to me. It doesn't sound bad, but at the same time, I wish I sounded more feminine. Maybe, and like the thing is, my voice does sound different to how it used to 6 to 9 to 12 months ago. You know, if you go back and we watched a video clip from just before I transitioned, from just last year, like early last year. And I sound like a totally different person. It's not the same person. There. I got myself a vanilla latte, because it's the last vanilla latte I have. I shouldn't be having it, because it's probably got caffeine in it, but fuck it. I do what I want. Where are we? What have I missed? Excusez-moi. Live emote? Oh, Liv, is it Agar? I've been in her stream, and welcome to the Rogue Room, maybe. Where have I? Have I missed anything? Peter, who's already left, but, you know, welcome to the Rogue Room. The viewership tonight is Pog. It is pretty Pog. I feel like I have to give credit to Carpe for the raid. But it's nice that, you know what, honestly, it's a good feeling that I am able to keep people here. Let's talk about that for a minute. It's a good feeling that I am able to have people sitting here in my stream, watching me, their eyeballs glued to their monitors or their phones, particularly interested in watching me for some reason. I like it. It's cool. It's pretty poggers. Anywho's. Also, that emote is just making me think of my cape at the moment, and I should get my cape out. Should cape gang it a little bit. Because I just want to live in that thing. I just want to live in capes from now on. I'm going to look for more capes. I like it when you watch. Being transmasculine and that much voice dysphoria, people just think you're 14. Oh, God. Where are you, cat? Move out of the way. Oh, gosh, okay. My God, I need to find a better position for my bin. It's cape time. Oh my goodness. There we go. Doesn't really fit with the shirt and the pants, but, you know. It's also fucking based. Everyone should have capes. Everybody should have capes. Been trying to, you know, convince more people. It's like, hey, I'll tell you where I got this cape from. You should go on there and see if they've got more capes. You should go see if they've got more capes that you can have. You can also have a cape, friend. And what we're going to do, I'm going to start a movement. I'm going to start a revolution that'll get people back into wearing capes. We're going to do a thing, folks. We're going to get capes back on the agenda. Alright? We are going to do this. I swear to you all. All types of capes. Shoulder capes. Big, flowy, floor-length capes. This kind of hooded cape. Loads of capes. Cape and revolving door. True. How often are you in a revolving door, though?
Welcome to the
Genuinely. How often does that come up? And I just subscribed to Patreon. Oh, no, to YouTube. Someone just subscribed to YouTube. Why has it... Why has it done that? Why has it linked both my YouTube and my Twitch on Streamlabs? I only wanted one of them connected at a time. Like, I'm fine with that message if I'm streaming on YouTube at that very moment, which I don't do. But why does it do that, dude? As someone who has an aggressive farmer's tan they want to get rid of, you down with capes being normalized. There you go. Do it. Get yourselves a cape. The only problem now is it's covering up my Brigitte shirt. Don't cover up my Brigitte shirt. But anyways. Capes and escalators. Yeah, I suppose. Saving up channel points again? Sounds good. Yes, capes will now be a part of the gay agenda, absolutely. But yeah, that's kind of the unfortunate thing about the voice thing. Is that, you know, testosterone irrevocably masculinizes your vocal cords. There's nothing you can do about it. You can get a surgery that might fix it, but the only other option you have is to voice train. And I just don't have the time, the money, and the energy to do it. But I may, you know, I suppose there are options to learn online. But I think, you know, having a certain interaction with a person who's, you know, directly there coaching you is probably going to make more of a difference. Low-key Spoon, welcome to the Rogue Room. How you doing? Welcome to Cape Gang. We are not actually Cape Gang. We're not starting that kind of shit. Gape? When your excessive accessories cover up your excessive gamer merch. At least, you know, I chose a good time to buy this. Because it's coming into the winter month. It's getting colder. It's getting colder here in Australia. I know, it's crazy. The made-up country that everyone thinks is a flaming wasteland it actually has cold months. And I'll get to get around in this more often. I can't wait. I cannot wait, friendos, for Cape season. It's going to be Cape season. Surgeries are currently pretty risky too. You've heard of newer procedures, but they're pretty new, yeah. It's the thing, isn't it? This is what we have to deal with. And if certain people had their way, you wouldn't even be able to get those surgeries done in the first place. You know, kind of a bit of a shit thing that all around. Okay, so who wants some news that's really fucking stupid? When was this published? Updated 1 day ago. The newer ones are new. Yeah. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Who wants some news about a shit cunt? I feel like most of the news tonight is about shit cunts. I'm sorry that I keep bringing up shit cunts into your life, but Derek Chauvin asks judge for new trial after being convicted of George Floyd's murder. Look at his dumb fucking face. Hello, Hellfire. How you doing? How's it going? Look at his stupid face. Look at this idiot. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has asked a Minneapolis judge for a new trial. Court records show 2 weeks after he was found guilty of second and third degree murder and manslaughter in the killing of George Floyd. Yeah, no, fuck you, Derek. You dick shit. Yeah, that's an insult. I love this. Derek Chauvin, the white ex-policeman. I love that they point out that he's white. It's like, yeah, we can tell. Trust me. He's one of the whitest men I think I've ever seen in my life. Ex-policeman convicted of murdering black man George Floyd. Like, I know it's relevant in terms of the racial nature of the crime. Asked on Tuesday for a new trial on claims of jury and prosecution misconduct. 45-year-old who knelt her... Yeah, we know that part. Faces up to 40 years in prison after being found guilty last month in a case that prompted a national reckoning on racial injustice and police brutality. Chauvin's attorney Eric Nelson argued that his client did not get a fair trial due to publicity around the case, court and prosecution errors, as well as race-based pressure on the jury. The publicity here was so pervasive and so prejudicial before and during the trial that it amounted to a structural defect in the proceedings. What else do you think was structural that might have contributed to this case even happening in the first place? The racism, perhaps? Anywho, sorry, I'm sniffling a bit. The filing came as the impartiality of a juror in the case has been brought to question after a photo surfaced of him at an anti-racism rally. I'm sorry, I don't see how that's relevant. If somebody can explain to me how that's relevant, genuinely. So there's been a mistake, I'm white. Oh, excuse me. Legal experts had said Chauvin's defense attorney could potentially use the photo of juror Brandon Mitchell as grounds to appeal the verdict, though the matter was not mentioned in Tuesday's pleading. Why was there even a trial in the first place? And we're going to get into something about the death penalty soon, which he's not going to get the death penalty, but we're going to talk about the death penalty soon. I did one anti-racism once, so I get a pass. It's a black man who attended a BLM rally wearing a BLM shirt. Oh, all of a sudden the jury is biased. You know, gee, I wonder why the jury might be biased in this circumstance. Legal experts... Oh, yeah, I read that bit. High bar for jury misconduct. In the photo, Mr. Mitchell, a 31-year-old black man, is wearing a t-shirt with a picture of civil rights leader Martin Luther King on it, as well as the words, "Get your knee off our necks," and the letters BLM for Black Lives Matter. Mr. Mitchell is one of only 2 jurors who have publicly identified themselves since the high-profile trial. In a questionnaire, potential jurors were asked if they had taken part in any of the protests against police brutality that followed Mr. Floyd's death. Mr. Mitchell said he had not and could serve impartially. He told Minneapolis Star-Tribune that the photo was taken at a march he attended in Washington in August 2020 to mark the anniversary of Martin Luther King's famous "I Have a Dream" speech. Jeffrey Frederick, a jury selection expert, said Mr. Mitchell's answer may be technically correct since the Washington event was billed as a commemoration. It'll be up to the judge to conduct questioning and to make a determination as to whether or not he felt this juror was biased and possibly had lied during the course of voir dire. What does that mean, voir dire? On the juror questionnaire, Mr. Frederick told AFP. The judge would then decide if it reaches a standard for affecting the outcome of the trial, he said. The bar is high in terms of misconduct, and the granting of a new trial, he added, such determinations are rare. Judges do not want to declare mistrials, particularly in a case where there has been a verdict in the special circumstances of this case. Yeah. The other one is an uwu girl with badass makeup, and I love how right-wingers are pissed about it. Please tell me you have a link that shows me what this person looks like, because that sounds amazing. Apparently judges can't have political opinions. Sorry, this just in. Judges can only be racist. I'm sorry. You're a black man? That's too political for this trial against a white man who killed a black man. That's essentially the argument Chauvin is making. Hello, cat. Let me find it right. Sounds good. Still don't get juries. Let's force random people to judge other random people. No, not those ones. They're biased. Exactly. Like, how can you make that kind of a judgment call on a person? How can you make the assumption that a let me think. You know, the idea that this being such a high-profile case has put pressure on the proceedings and things of that nature is not really a defense of it. It's not really like the fucking world saw the video of Derek Chauvin putting his knee on the guy's neck. Like, no, you don't get another trial. It's done. It's decided. You're not allowed to request another trial. You know, what's the outcome he's expecting? By the way, I'm curious, where are they holding him until sentencing? What's going on with that? Where is he being held until sentencing? Like, is he in any way locked up? Is he under surveillance? Or until we know when he is going to jail, which he must go to jail because this is definitely a go to jail, go directly to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200 situation. You know? Ow. Sorry, I keep pulling on my headphones. Like, what does he expect is going to happen here? Does anyone, honestly, does anyone think there will be even a chance for a second trial here? Genuinely. The juries can't be political thing is pretty ironic given what happened to the Supreme Court. Is he sans liberté? What does that mean? I want another trial because I'm a poor white man. Judge, fine, gives another trial, guilty on all counts. Get fucked, cunt. I hope that guy gets killed in jail in Minecraft. Hate apolitical or in-biased stuff because there is no such thing. In these type of situations, it just means they're biased towards the status quo. Absolutely, yeah. Like, if they think this is a biased trial, you know, it's not just one juror that made the decision. It was the entire jury that unanimously decided he was guilty. You know, they made the decision as a group. That's how juries work, as far as I know. You know. I think, I dare say, everybody on that jury would have had some opinion of the situation. Yeah, unbiased. The jury is biased against racists. Good! Fuck them. Fuck racists. Fuck Derek Chauvin. Don't give him a second trial. He's a wanker. He's an absolute wanker. A murderous wanker. And the evidence is there for the world to see. This is an interesting thing to bring up, actually. Let me just see if I can find this here. I don't think I have this article open. No, I don't. All right. On the subject of public executions, well, not public execution. Well, I mean, yeah, the George Floyd death was a public execution. Like, unanimously. I think everybody in chat right now would unanimously agree that the George Floyd killing was a public almost state-sponsored execution, is what it looked like. You know? They may not have directly told Derek Chauvin, hey, go kneel on this man's neck for 9 minutes. But I get the suspicion there was some, well, the system allowed it to happen, basically. I think, as far as I know, George Floyd did have a criminal record, and it wouldn't have surprised me if there were certain people who knew of his criminal record and just saw him as a write-off. He posted in the newsroom. Let's have a look. Don't know if it's 100% legit. This is literally one of the jurors. Okay, can I bring this up? Yeah. Let me show it over here. This is literally one of the jurors who convicted Derek Chauvin. These are the people deciding the fate of America. Trial was so hard and there was so much pressure. Thanks to all of you who gave me support while I was in it. Such a big weight off my chest to be able to talk about it now. I really hope I did the right thing. I'm just glad it's over. Who fucking cares what they look like? Who fucking cares what they look like? If they are capable of being a juror in a serious legal trial like this, which is the entire point, jury of your peers, you know, they are meant to be normal people, right? I love her, dude. It's fantastic. It was an extrajudicial execution. Yes, absolutely. Every time anyone calls the police, a lynch mob might show up. Precisely. I hate the, she lied. Is it fake? It was a mock trial. Aww. Right-wingers love to go off on appearance. Yeah, they do. And you know why? Like, let's talk about this for a second. Let's talk about exactly why conservatives love to pander to appearance specifically and other undesirable traits that do not really specifically pertain to a person's politics or anything of that nature, right? The reason is because conservatives have a very specific image in their head of what an ideal citizen looks like. Ideal men, ideal women. There are no in-betweens in the conservative ideal, in the conservative vision of utopia. You know, they have a very specific image in their head of what men do, what women do, what their role in society is. And anyone who falls outside of that is an undesirable. Anyone who falls outside of that is to be excommunicated, is to be cast out. And as a result, you'll find a lot of conservatives very heavily hammer on about the appearance of people. You know, they'll mock people who are overweight. They'll mock people who do not conform to typical gender standards. They will mock people who, you know, wear their hair a certain way, have tattoos, and all of this kind of other stuff. Conservative doesn't comprehend anything of gender outside of binary. They think sex and gender are the same concept. You know, I can't believe I'm down below 150 subscribers now. These gift subs keep running out. Dude. Stop. Someone resub like 26 people right now. Big part of conservatism is about primal fear, and a lot of that is based on appearance alone. A lot of it's people have said I shouldn't use the term tribalism. I don't know why, but my interpretation is that, a lot of conservatives belong to that specific tribe, is what they're going for, wherein their specific group of people that they have this ideal built up of in their heads, and anyone outside of that is another that needs to be gotten rid of for various reasons. Well, I wasn't actually expecting you to gift subs, but I'll take them. Thank you so kindly, Circuit Overlord, for gifting 5 subs. 1 to Rosmerty, Raven, Payne, Ken, PDX, NZ, Loki, and Radis. My alerts haven't been fixed.
You are now one of us.
And also, this is too hot now. There are weird exceptions in conservatism, homo-fascism, for example. Please explain that one to me. I'm not familiar with that term. I'm not familiar with that. I'm going to take this off. It's not 25 subs.
You are now one of us.
Thank you. That can go there. Aw, dude. Let's continue with this topic for a moment.
You are now one of us.
I can go there. Queer eye for the straight guy, for example. Okay, interesting. What is... I'm not sure what you mean, though. I'm not sure what the...
You are now
meaning
one
is.
of us.
Literally just Nazism, but for gays. Anywho. Because, conservatism is largely rooted in the concept of the status quo. It is largely rooted in, you look at utopian societies as they're presented, and in media, for example, and everything's perfect. Everyone's living a comfortable life, everybody's cozy, and there's no real problems, right? You have to come up with problems in a supposedly utopian setting that a lot of the time, are particularly ridiculous to justify some kind of conflict in a story or what have you. You would call yourself conservative, but you're trans. I mean, you could still be a transgender conservative. Blair White, for example. No problems. The ideal utopia for a conservative is the problems have been dealt with, and then they have nothing to worry about because they're back in that, perfect little 1950s white picket fence kind of setting. Don't know if that's as much as an exception as it is the fact that conservatism literally wouldn't be able to last much longer without at least pretending to care about some kind of minority. Milo yeet him off a cliff. I feel like this is racist because the name Yiannopoulos is Greek. Is that racist? I don't know. Anywho, Pilo yikes a bunch of bits. That's a whole situation there. Italian. What was I going to say? Why didn't the total subs update? All the subs got gifted and the total sub count hasn't gone up again. What? Anyway, it's not an insult. It's not because an insult is not in English that it's racist. I think I get what you mean. Okay, what are you doing? Get off there, you little shit. Is the meme for misspelling Benedict Cumberbatch's name racist too? Well, I suppose technically not. Just trying to think. There was more to this topic that I had on my mind. It's rather amusing that a lot of the conservative talking points I've heard, you look at what conservatives say, you look at the way they behave, the language they use, it's all very aggressive and asserting of this idea of protecting society in some way, shape, or form, protecting the culture, protecting the ideal, protecting the norm. These kinds of people over here, they're threatening our way of life, kind of thing. They are so against the idea of anyone having any sort of progress that doesn't fall within their perfect little box. And as a result, there is that intent focus on appearance. Because appearance is easy to deride. You don't need to have a particular political stance on a person's appearance. You can just point at them and say, I don't like the way this person looks, and you can turn it into a joke, which privileged people often do. You know, they will mock a person's appearance and just, you know, say, you look silly. I don't like how you look because you look silly. You look stupid. Like the CEO guy, the 46-year-old CEO guy who was mocking the gay teenager who was going to prom in a red dress. So the dude's wearing a red dress and he goes, I think you look like a fucking idiot. And that's the only stance they need to take, is just that my opinion on how you look is the only thing I care about you. I don't care if I hurt your feelings about your race, gender, sex, sexuality, disability, age, etc., etc., etc. Seems the act of gatekeeping is inherently right-wing. Too bad so many leftists do it. Yeah, I think I can agree with that notion, yeah. How to look through my YouTube and the way you handle transphobes is amazing. Would have literally blocked and deleted all of them. I should just do that. Is troglodyte a racist phrase? You really like it and don't want to part with it. In simplest terms, the term troglodyte is used to refer to someone thought to be repulsive, reactionary, out of date, or brutish. Can also use it to compare someone to an ape, a member of a prehistoric race of people who lived in caves, or a creature that lives underground. Okay, hang on. Mrs. Mini Eggs, welcome in. How you going? Here's a question for you. For goodness sake. There you go. Is troglodyte racist? There you go. Answer that question. Because I've heard the term, like, there's another term that sounds very similar to troglodyte, which is definitely racist and you shouldn't use it, which refers to both Mongolian people and people with Down syndrome typically, because of the shape of their face. We're not going to use that word. I used to use it a lot because I didn't make the association. I didn't think Mongol, and then the rest of it, and it just for some reason, in my head it never clicked. And on a similar note regarding Mongols, is Ghost of Tsushima a game I can play in front of my kids? Just asking for a friend. Yeah, that word. That word. On the subject of my YouTube channel, there's my YouTube channel. It's not a game I can play in front of my kids, really. Is there dismemberment in it? I don't recall there being dismemberment in it. But I swear I've seen a video of the protagonist slicing a man's arm off at the same time, so I'm like, maybe there is? I don't know. Isn't there... There's very light nudity. You see Jin get into hot spas, and you can see his ass for a second. Yeah, it's feudal Japan. Definitely inspired by samurai films as well. So yeah, dismemberment. Blood. There's lots of blood. Loads of blood. But I swear there have been a few... It's in on the hot tub meta too. I swear... Well, this is the thing. Play Mortal Kombat in front of them? Yeah, I probably wouldn't play that because it's, you know, full on guts being ripped out of people. But on a similar note, allegedly, my daughter wants to play Doom. 2016 Doom. Okay, so we got some nars and some uncertains. Okay, so we're still sort of iffy on that. I'm going to run an ad break really quickly just because we're still, you know, with pre-rolls. Anyway, getting rid of the fucking pre-rolls. I hate this shit. Anywho, yeah, my daughter's been asking me to play Doom. She's 9, which says to me she's more than likely played it at her mother's place, her other mother's place. I'm one of the mothers too now, and I don't care what she says. Yeah, so at her other parents' place. She must have played it for her to be interested in... I think she might even have told me she's played it. And I'm like, Doom in particular is a big no for me. Doom in particular, I'm like, no. Have you seen Doom? It's, you know, and I love Doom 2016. I love it. But it is inherently really excessively violent by design. It's really grotesquely violent by design. I do not think that that's a game that children should be playing. Similarly, at least when you consider the storyline of Grand Theft Auto, my kids have played Grand Theft Auto just to drive around the city. I don't mind them doing that because Grand Theft Auto is much more of a sandbox. But Doom is Doom. you don't really have a lot of variance in how you play. You can't stealth your way through Doom, for example. You play Doom to kill shit in a really grim way. And then Doom really fucked you up and you're a 32-year-old woman. Well, Doom Eternal. I have to play Doom Eternal. I like 2016. Doom is honestly great. It's fantastic. I would like my kids to play it when they're like 16. Not now. They're way too young for that. Mortal Kombat, especially not. You know? And, you know, playing through the story of GTA, I certainly wouldn't let them do that. You know, that's particularly... there's a lot in... there's a lot in the story of GTA that I was just like, yeah, no. Just mod Doom to remove the violence. Nothing is more metal than the Doom 2016 intro. True. Doom's soundtrack fucking bangs. It really does. What about Bloodborne? Should I play Bloodborne in front of the kids? Same with Mortal Kombat. I used to have an option to remove the gore, but they took it out. I like Dark Souls' blood options. Hello. I like the blood options in Dark Souls because you got regular blood, which is red, of course. Then you've got like less blood or whatever it is. So you're not turning it off. But you go with the less blood option and the blood turns green. And then you go to the no blood and it's just no blood. Bloodborne is too scary. It is. It is pretty scary. I think GTA is a bad game for kids because they might not catch on to the satire in the story and take some stuff seriously. There's that too. But also just the themes in general are too adult for a child. Whereas Doom, the aesthetic is too adult for a child, in my view. In the way I see it. No more blood mode, please. Can we have a Dark Souls more blood mode? Why not go all out and do an RGB blood slider? I remember when I downloaded a mod for Jedi Academy when I was a kid that allowed me to change... Well, of course I added a blood mod to Jedi Academy. Of course I did. But I remember distinctly downloading a mod that allowed you to RGB slider your lightsaber. It was so cool. Oh, dude. I love good Jedi games. It's fucking great. Not Force Unleashed. Fallen Order was fantastic. Fallen Order is absolutely fantastic. Does Call of Duty have a paintball mode these days? Yeah, I think so. Even then, though, fired from Walmart. How are you doing? 5 times. What about a more bodily fluids option? Even then, though, we have to think about, you know, children below the age of 10. Just in my view. Like, I feel like them playing any sort of game that has a realistic or quasi-realistic visual style that focuses heavily, especially on gunplay, or perhaps like melee violence or anything, is still somewhat inappropriate for kids that are younger. You know, Fired from Walmart, welcome to the Rogue Room, how you doing? Lego games are alright. I used to like them a lot, but I've drifted away from them nowadays. I'm not as much of a fan of Lego games as I used to be. Is that a bad opinion to have? I mean, I'm a parent. You know, I have concerns about the things that they're exposing themselves to. I know my kids have nightmares. Both of them have had experiences with nightmares, and I don't want my daughter playing Doom, which would definitely influence nightmares if she were to have them. You know, I don't want them to just have stuff that would traumatize them. But at the same time, you know, I enjoy these games, and I do want to share some of my favorite games with them. I would like my kids to play Dark Souls. I'd like them to play Bloodborne. What about Skyrim? What do you think about Skyrim, folks? Because Skyrim opens with a beheading, and beheading is the only type of dismemberment in the base game, which is bad. Like, beheadings are bad, obviously. But, you know, I think Skyrim is honestly on that level where it's like, it's probably reasonably okay. Especially given, you know, the story doesn't really heavily focus on any sort of heavier language. All of the more adult themes are very, very simple, very basic. Well, I mean, yeah, there are the Eldritch beings. I was thinking more about the mainstream stuff, the main storyline stuff. But yeah, like you do have to think about some of the Daedric lords do have some very grim quests. You let your kids watch you play it occasionally. I thought about doing that too. It's like I could definitely play Skyrim for them, and then when they're a bit older, they could play it themselves. There's a lot of beheading in Skyrim, but you started playing it when you were 12 and you're fine. Yeah, like, I don't think it's going to fuck people up in their adulthood, but it's more I'm just worried about the effects on them immediately. I'm worried about them having nightmares. I'm worried about them perhaps acting out the violent actions they see in the games. You know, they've already got an issue with them not respecting each other's personal space. I don't want to give them any more things to influence potentially violent actions between each other or with other kids at school or creche or wherever, you know. It's not so much about, I think my kid's going to grow up to become a school shooter. It's more, I worry they're just going to do something and act out based on what they've seen in video games because their minds haven't fully developed yet. And they, yeah. Mummy, I'm a dragon. Zelda's quite a bit different though, isn't it? Zelda's definitely a game that kids could play. There are only 2 beheadings. Well, there is the beheading option as a perk in the game though. That's also to be considered. Young kid loved Soul Calibur 5 when they were around 10. Is that particularly gruesomely violent? I know it is very violent though. And they do love Rocket League. They do love Rocket League. Yeah, school shooter paper Australians. I shouldn't laugh at that. Have boxing in the morning radio, Fox. Have a good one. Have a good time. If that's how they learn about it, it's more likely to be traumatic. You can pinpoint fears and traumas to a first/accidental exposure to a concept as a kid, but if you had the concept, it was already fine. Interesting, yeah, good point. Hang on, what feels weird to say? Oh yeah, it feels so weird to say, yeah. Being the based parent. Am I the based parent? I don't know. I don't want to become one of those people who's fear-mongering about violence in video games, but like, as much as I dislike my mother's takes on video games, she certainly doesn't understand it. She does have a point with, you know, how violence is so ingrained in the genre. My son loves playing Knack. I've mentioned this a few times, and I know the storyline of Knack. I can hear it when he's playing it. The dialogue is very simple. You know, the story is not deep by any stretch of the imagination. Skyrim has a deeper storyline than Knack does. But listening to it, Knack is quite literally, and I tweeted about this, Knack is quite literally a game about human beings committing genocide on another race using a war robot. That's what Knack is about thematically. It's about committing genocide. That's what it is. They're always talking about how bad the goblins are and how they have to wipe the goblins out. They go and invade goblin cities and all this kind of stuff. It's like, dude, this is a game designed for children, and it's literally just putting genocidal mentality in their heads. You know, and I kind of, you know, quite frankly, a lot of media that we pander towards children. The goblins, here's the thing, the goblins are portrayed as bad guys. They are portrayed as bad in their own way. They are distinctly like an invading kind of force. Yes, Knack. K-N-A-C-K. Knack 2, baby! And my son enjoys the game. It's pretty simplistic. But yeah, like the way that they glorify the humans so much. The humans are the stalwart, upstanding good guys. And the goblins are uniformly an evil force. Which just teaches these kids that there is going to be a situation in your life where there's going to be an other that might be an entire group of people. And it's okay for you to look at them as some kind of a villain. Like, that's the thing I'm worried about, honestly, is the idea of othering, which is already going to be present in the attitudes of other school kids. So I worry that, you know, sounds like the script for the next Jack Saint video. Who's Jack Saint? Praise the cheese goblin. Met cute goblin girl on Bumble yesterday. Custom Honolulu. Did I say that correctly? Gure, welcome to the program. How you doing? I do worry about that kind of narrative, that good versus evil narrative that's been a part of children's media for a long time. It's been a part of media for a very long time. You know? More about how these things are introduced to you and not that they are existing and being introduced to you. Brother played video games when you were literally 5 and he'd always tell you that's not okay to do. See, that's a good thing. Maybe I should be teaching my son, you know, what they're saying about the goblins. You shouldn't say that about other people. Yeah, Disney's a good example. Always portraying like a particular certain person. A lot of queer coding in Disney media. The guy who made the video about Sky High being about eugenics. You're gonna have to send me a link to that in my Discord. A lot of subliminal messages in children's media, absolutely. Why did I not go into a media interpretation degree? Why did I not go into that? I don't even consume media that much, but I feel like that would be a thing that I could do. Kids' media often underestimates the level of complexity kids can handle, so the stories end up being very simplified. Yeah, true. This is why I hate, can I ramble? I've ranted about this before. I hate Paw Patrol for that. I hate Rusty Rivets for that. There's another show, Nella the Princess Knight. Same fucking shit. I hate it. They massively oversimplify everything, and there's never any losses in these shows, and numerous others, teach kids fucking nothing. They teach them fucking nothing. They'll confront them with a scenario that seems overwhelming and insurmountable, and then they just Deus Ex Machina out of it. I cannot fucking stand it. Bluey is a fucking banger. And honestly, so is Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom to a point. Get your kid to watch the Feminist Frequency series before they play teen-rated games. I couldn't stand the good versus evil narrative so much that I usually rooted for one of the villains most of the time. Thought it was messed up back then, but now you understand better, especially with so many queer-coded villains. Yeah, Bob the Builder used to be good before they fucked him up. Seemed like a good parent, though, at least you think. Yeah, I think about these issues, and I think about them more beyond the fact of, oh, I don't want my kid playing those video games with guns. You know? I don't, this is the thing, as a pacifist, I don't like the idea of guns. But I carry gun-like things for fun. Anyway, however, you know, I'm not particularly averse to the idea of kids playing games with guns. Can we get more rogue parenting segments? Delete the character from the beginning. This did not happen. Ty, welcome to the Rogue Room. How you doing? Childhood is looking up to the heroes. Adulthood is understanding the villains. Yeah. This is why, yeah, swords are fine. We could do swords. And it's like there are a lot of parents who are staunchly anti-video game. They don't want their kids playing any video games, period. Because they know that video games, generally speaking, contain violence. But there's tons of really good games out there that kids should be playing, honestly. Thank you for the hydration. Where's my my bottle of hydration? Like the, yeah, I'm definitely, I've always had this attitude of like, I don't think kids shouldn't play violent video games. I don't think kids shouldn't indulge in the art of the video game realm. I just think, yeah, there are definitely certain ages where, you know, I don't want my daughter playing Doom 2016 because I think that's too excessive for her at the age of 9 and my son at the age of 5. They're not even 12 yet. If they were 12, I might reconsider it. You know, if they were like 12 and 16, I might reconsider the idea. But, well, I keep saying she's 9. She's not 9 yet. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Unironically play Dishonored pacifist run with your kids and punish them with chores for killing people. I love that idea. I need to write that down. I'm going to do it. That's incredible. But honestly, what spurs this discussion on in some ways is that article that came out recently. Not article, sorry. The guy posted the tweet where he's like, my 5-year-old son just beat Bloodborne. And he used that as an opportunity to make his point about how, you know, if a 5-year-old can beat a video game like this, you don't need easy modes in games. Like, did we need to ignite this discussion again, mate? Can you shut the fuck up? I'm going to talk about how irresponsible you are as a parent for exposing them to something as nightmarish as Bloodborne. And I adore that game with all my heart. I hope my kids do eventually play Bloodborne, and I hope they love it. But holy shit, having a 5-year-old playing that game is not responsible. That is not responsible. That could scar them, honestly. Got to teach them how to shoot so that when they get into the harsh, cold workforce filled with impromptu Nerf battles, they'll be prepared to put suction to glasses. Dude, I need to find my... I have a Nerf... not a Magnus. That's a Magnus. But one of the revolver ones. 6-shot revolver ones. That had the suction darts. Specifically. I need to find it. It was amazing. I love the suction darts. They're so good. Turn on Shaman, it was not deleted from the beginning with the character deletion code. You gave such status is wrong. What? Gotta get them good young. I think they'd be okay with Dark Souls. This is a strange thing. Is like, as creepy and sort of eldritch as Dark Souls can get, you turn the blood off and it's not too bad, really. It's ultimately just a bit more dark fantasy. Like, there's some of the enemy designs are pretty gruesome, but you know, Bloodborne is more distinctly very, very dark, I suppose would be the... Does that make sense? Like, aesthetically speaking, I think Dark Souls is more palatable to a younger person, whereas Bloodborne definitely feels like it's a bit more mature. I still wouldn't give my kids Dark Souls at their current age, but I think, you know, for example, I would perhaps let them play Dark Souls at the age of 12, and then maybe at 16 to 18 I'd let them play Bloodborne. Aesthetically speaking, I think that would be a more logical decision. However, Bloodborne has a cane that turns into a fucking whip! I'm sorry, I can't... It's really good! I love that game. Yeah, Bloodborne is literal body horror. Dark Souls is just atmospheric, exactly. And honestly, unironically, I really want to buy a bladed cane. I want to get around with my cape and a bladed cane. Someone fucks with me, I got a sword cane, bitch. Come on, bring it. Sekiro would be more palatable for kids? You think so? Sekiro is pretty bad. It's pretty gruesome. Is there an option to turn off blood in Sekiro? Because the blood in Sekiro is quite frankly a massive feature of the aesthetic of it. Ooh, taser cane, that'd be cool. I think Souls games are something kids would maybe be too impatient for or not be able to appreciate as much as adults. I think my daughter would be able to handle it. She'd be able to understand the mechanics. She'd be able to understand the patience of it. But I do get your point. I think the difficulty of it would impact certain children, certainly. I just don't think a 5-year-old should have played through Bloodborne. It's, you know... To use that, quite frankly, to have that situation happen, to make your child play Bloodborne and then use it to fire up that whole games difficulty discourse again, I'm just like, dude, kind of trashy, honestly, to use your kid to fuel your opinion. Fucking on Twitter. Fucking trashy. Yeah, they all have ratings from the Australian government. They do. Which is, you know, the way you're supposed to do things. But I'm talking more as a broad discussion, you know. We know what the ratings board says. Don't trust the ratings board for the record. Wonder if there's a kid-friendly Souls like, I want to... If I had the capacity, if I had a team behind me, that would be the first video game I would make, honestly. It's an idea I've had for a long time. I can think of at least one, but it sucks. What is it? Tell me what it is. But like, I had this idea. I saw an artwork. Got a feeling he lied about the kid. He may well have. I didn't even think about that. He may well have just lied about the kid to get his little word in edgewise about the thing. Necropolis technically counts. I'm gonna have to look that one up. But yeah, I saw a chibi art, basically, of a Dark Souls character. Just a character in the hard leather armor set, right? And I thought to myself, well, not really chibi, but very, very cutesy styled. And I thought to myself, imagine, you know, let's just say, not necessarily the chibi art style, but let's just say, you know, maybe one of the art styles that have been in Zelda over the years. You take that kind of, you know, cartoony, fun fantasy aesthetic, and you apply Dark Souls' world design and combat mechanics to it, loot system and all that. I think you could definitely do a game that is basically Dark Souls for kids. And I think it'd be a really cool idea. And if I had a game studio, that'd be the thing I'd do. I'd make that. I think it'd be a really fun thing, you know, kids and adults. Because I like the mechanics of Dark Souls. Yeah. It's called Mario. Mario is kind of Souls-like. You start over again when you die. Mario is literally the Dark Souls of platformers. This guy's kid, everyone dies one day. Everyone, even wolves, but not books, not words. Words don't die. OG Ninja Gaiden should be an honorary Souls-like. Here's the thing, do you consider a game a Souls-like if it's just hard, or do you consider it a Souls-like based on its mechanics? I personally consider a game a Souls-like based on its mechanics. Please excuse me scratching my tit. Sorry. Not sorry. Anyway. Yeah, I personally consider it, I consider a game a Souls-like based on if it has similar mechanics. Does it have, you know, does it have a predominantly melee-focused combat style with a block function, a dodge function, like a parry riposte kind of system? Yeah, Ashen actually is a good example. Ashen is one that you could definitely... Hang on. Let me try something. Hang on. It's on the PS Store. I could get them into Ashen. I reckon that'd be good for them. Like, they'd be able to play that for sure. And it's on sale. What do you reckon? Oh yeah, the stamina-based combat. I didn't even think about that. Not Nier for the kids. I mean, I'll try Nier at some point, I think. I may actually buy that. Yeah, might be a good idea. It's quite a good game. It's nowhere near as good as Dark Souls, of course. However, is Ashen rated 0 to 3 sad onions? Wait, what? Excuse me. 0 to 3 sad onions? What? What are you talking about? Housemate is eating bread and sauce like an absolute psychopath. What kind of sauce? Tomato sauce. What the fuck? Dude, tell your housemate to buy some vegetables. Good lord. What is that? Who taught this person to eat? Deranged. Buy a fucking pepper. Buy just one. Buy a capsicum. Eat a capsicum whole. An onion. Buy it. Do a Tony Abbott. Just buy an onion and just bite into it. Please. Tell them to eat orange. Eat an orange. An Ashen's reference. Ah, I'm a dumb. I haven't watched Ashen's in ages. Should we talk about a news story now? Should we move on from video games? Or do we want to keep talking about what video games are appropriate for kids? Actually, you know what I think would be good for the kids as well? Do I have it on Steam or do I have it on PS4? There's a game that focused heavily on building your own martial art, and you would go out in the world and you would practice against like NPCs that would use a certain technique on you, and you'd have to block them and deflect them and learn the technique from them by studying them, basically. You'd have to keep fighting these enemies, and you would eventually unlock the technique that they use against you. What was that one called? That game, Absolver. Yeah, that was fucking awesome. I love that game. I gotta finish it. The developers are doing another game that's very heavily based around Kung Fu. And it looks sick. I think it's called... let me find it. Have 500 hours in Absolver. I need to try it again. What's it called? Absolver. If we go to Absolver. Yeah, I don't have it on Steam, which means I must have it on PlayStation. So I'll install that and they can give that a crack, because that's a good fucking game. Just gave 2 pies to the homie. Only stand Tony Gelati. How angry would the news make you? Well, it was going to come back around to the idea of capital punishment. This doesn't help me. Oh, I know what it's called. Nope, it's not available on here. Or is it? Sifu. Yeah, let me see if it's on Steam. Hang on. Nope, it's not on Steam. Okay. Sifu game. For those of you who missed it. For those of you who haven't seen this. Not seafood. Oh, well, Shifu, not Sifu. Shifu. This is the same developers as Absolver. Slow clap. Oh, fucking of course it's Epic Games. That's why it's not on the Steam store, by the way. Look at this. Look at this. This looks amazing. Oof, he got deaded. And then he turned into Hanzo. Yes, this is what the gameplay is going to be like. This is gameplay footage. And if it's anything like Absolver, all of these moves are going to be like individual inputs. So you're going to need to learn, you know, all these different types of defensive maneuvers, all these different types of strikes. Yeah, it's the same devs as Absolver, so I dare say it's building on what they made in that. Hello, Mad Max. How you doing? What's going on, mate? I am so keen, but I am so pissed off that it's going to be an Epic Games Store exclusive. Yes, that is fucking gameplay, and oh my god. Told by your temp tutor, you know you have your timetable set, but can you come in next week in a class where none were wearing masks while I'm shielding? Oh god. Fuck no. That is hype. I do have EGS installed on here, but I don't want to break my computer trying to run it, so... Anyway, how about we do a bit of news that's kind of relevant to what we were talking about before? Yeah, it'll probably come to Steam eventually. Actually, on the subject, I've heard that Epic Game Store's exclusive deals thing has not made them anywhere near as much money as people coming to... Like, the people coming over and buying games on the Epic Game Store has made them... Let me think for a second. The amount of customers that have come to the Epic Game Store buying games is significantly lower than the number of people who came to the Epic Game Store for the free games. When am I streaming till? A little bit longer. I do have to get up early in the morning, so I should probably end soon. Anywho's. South Carolina House votes to add firing squad to execution methods. The state would become only the fourth to allow a firing squad. You could just not kill people. Mayhap. Might be an idea. Anywho. Columbia, South Carolina. News. South Carolina is now a Souls-like. The South Carolina House voted Wednesday to add a firing squad to the state's execution methods amid a lack of lethal injection drugs. A measure meant to jumpstart executions. Read that sentence. A measure meant to jumpstart executions. Y'all Qaeda. I hope you're good at timing your iframes. Okay, a measure meant to jumpstart executions in a state that once had one of the busiest death chambers in the nation. That's not a good thing. The bill, approved by a 66-43 vote, will require condemned inmates to choose either being shot or electrocuted if lethal injection drugs aren't available. The state is one of only 9 to still use the electric chair and will become only the 4th to allow a firing squad. Yokohama. You folks are killing me tonight, Jesus. But not as badly as South Carolina is. South Carolina last executed a death row inmate 10 years ago on Thursday. Really? So why do they need to add another what? What? Anyway. The Senate already had approved the bill in March by a vote of 32 to 11. The House only made minor technical changes to that version, meaning that after a routine final vote in the House and a sign-off by the Senate, it will go to Republican Governor Henry McMaster, who has said he will sign it. That's a villain's name. That's a super villain's name, if I've ever heard it. There are several prisoners in line to be executed. Corrections officials said 3 of South Carolina's 37 death row inmates are out of appeals, but lawsuits against the new death penalty rules are also likely. That's a positive, at least. 3 living, breathing human beings with a heartbeat that this bill is aimed at killing, said Democratic Representative Justin Bamberg, rhythmically thumping the microphone in front of him. If you push the green button at the end of the day and vote to pass this bill out of this body, you may as well be throwing the switch yourself. South Carolina first began using the electric chair in 1912 after taking over the death penalty from individual counties, which usually hanged prisoners. The other 3 states that allow firing squad are in Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Utah, according to the Death Penalty Information Center. Somebody said to me, I forget who it was. Was it? I think it was Detroit. Said to me that America's the only country considered to be developed that still uses the death penalty. Is that true? I'm not like, what do we consider a developed country at the end of the day, right? Take firing squad and traumatize the shooters. That's why it was stopped to begin with. Shot through the... Fucking hell. Everybody a part of this decision is doing this instead of just going to therapy. Go to therapy. South Carolina can't put anyone to death now because its supply of lethal injection drugs expired and it has not been able to buy any more. Good. Currently, inmates can choose between the electric chair and lethal injection. Since the drugs are not available, they chose injection. The bill retains lethal injection as the primary method of execution if the state has the drugs, but requires prison officials to use the electric chair or firing squad if it doesn't. How long is this article? Oh, I don't think it goes to here. Okay. I was going to say, it's one of those pages where it just keeps going. Where were we? Here we go. Those families of victims to these capital crimes are unable to get any closure because we are caught in this limbo stage where every potential appeal has been exhausted and the legally imposed sentences cannot be carried out, said Republican Representative Weston Newton. Another stereotype villain name. The lack of drugs and decisions by prosecutors to seek guilty pleas with guaranteed life sentences over death penalty trials have cut the state's death row population in nearly in half, from 60 to 37 inmates since the last execution was carried out in 2011. From 2000 to 2010, the state averaged just under 2 executions a year. The reduction has also come from natural deaths and prisoners willing appeals and being resentenced to life without parole. Prosecutors have sent just 3 new inmates to death row in the past decade. Democrats in the House offered several amendments, including not applying the new execution rules to current death row inmates, live streaming executions on the internet, outlawing the death penalty outright, and requiring lawmakers to watch executions. All failed. 7 Republicans voted against the bill, while 1 Democrat voted for it. Opponents of the bill brought up George Stinney, the youngest person executed in the U.S. in the 20th century. He was 14 when he was sent to South Carolina's electric chair a day after a one-day trial in 1944 for kissing 2 white girls. Oh, fuck. I forgot this story. When that came into it, I remembered this story. A judge threw out the black teen's conviction in 2014. Bit late. Newspaper stories reported that witnesses said the straps to keep him in the electric chair didn't fit around his small frame. Not only did South Carolina give the electric chair to the youngest person ever in America, but the boy was innocent. Other opponents noted that fellow Southern State Virginia outlawed the death penalty earlier this year. Also pointed out that the 3 executions carried out so far this year in the United States are the fewest since 2008, when the U.S. Supreme Court was reviewing lethal injection. Newton said the bill wasn't the place to debate the morality of executions. This bill doesn't deal with the merits or the propriety of whether we should have a death penalty in South Carolina, Newton said. They should replace the death penalty with gladiatorial combat. Heck yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. I think there's a strong case that they have to commute to life in prison without parole. Yeah. They quite frankly, I'm anti-death penalty. I don't think the death penalty should be instated. There are certain people who have very good reasons, in my opinion, to have some, let me think. I've heard stories of people who've been affected by crimes of people who have been sentenced to death. So, the families of a murder victim, rape victim, whatever it is, or what have you. The kinds of crimes committed against that person that they were close to justifies to them.
Guests.
LA Draws, welcome to the Rogan Friends. How's it going? How's it hanging? Let me turn some lights on. What? Yeah, we were just talking about one state brought back the firing squad. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Let me turn my lights on. I'm running out of water. I'm rapidly running out of water. There we go. Party mode. LA, how's your stream? What are we getting up to tonight? Tell us all about it. No, it's funny about lethal injection. They disinfect the person's arm and use clean needles. I mean, I don't know. That is funny. That is kind of amusing when you think about it. It's like, but what? They're going to be dead. Does it really matter if it's particularly sanitary? Did some Dead by Daylight to wake up. Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. I'm at the end of my bottle of water. There's nothing left. But yeah, we were just discussing the death penalty and South Carolina bringing back the firing squad because they're running out of lethal injection drugs. That's a whole thing. Use a rusty needle and spit on the arm. You wouldn't want someone to go to hell and have an infection, yeah. It is terrible. It's really absurd that their thought process. I can't hydrate now.
Room appreciates your recommendation.
Tatted Bears, thank you for the host, by the way. Yeah, I know, it's really weird. Main argument is think of the family member has to do the execution at least, fixes the firing squad problem. Solution is to make them all read The Green Mile, problem solved. You can't be pro-death penalty after that book. I haven't even seen the movie, and I'm anti-death penalty. But yeah, I think the argument that I was going to make is there are those who have been so affected by the crimes that are, verified to have been the crimes of a certain perpetrator, where I think in their own heads they can definitely justify the death penalty because they think there is no other recourse. There's no other verification of justice for them. But of course, thinking socially, thinking about the opinions of everyone, thinking about broadly, socially, we should definitely be looking at the death penalty as a thing that needs to go away. And that's my view on it. My view on it is that the death penalty does need to be done away with. And those who can be confirmed to have committed really heinous crimes do deserve life imprisonment. I'm still a proponent of rehabilitation, but there's an upward limit, I think, on how you can rehabilitate a person. Excuse me. Compelled to say the Innocence Project is a charity that works to clear the name of wrongfully convicted on death row with DNA testing. That's good. Can you choose death by drinking yourself to death instead? You can do whatever you like. I have an alcoholism joke on my stream every night. I shouldn't mock this, but I do have an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. So, not that unhealthy, but certainly unhealthy. But then again, what's a healthy relationship with alcohol at the end of the day, realistically speaking? But there's that. I just thought I would bring that particular topic up. That's such a weird thing to read in 2021, that a state in the United States, rather than, look at, let's get rid of the death penalty. We don't need to execute anybody in the state. Why don't they, why did they decide to go the route of archaic methods of execution that, quite frankly, are very reminiscent of what the Nazis used to do? Line up against the wall, kids. Prison justice usually takes care of the particularly heinous individuals. Yeah, but of course the issue there is, again, comes back around to the idea of people who are in prison who are innocent. We do still have to consider that there are a lot of people who get sent to prison for particularly heinous crimes who are innocent of that crime, who did not commit that crime. And then let's not act like someone who goes into prison, a healthy, well-adjusted individual, comes out the other side of it, a healthy, well-adjusted individual. The effects of being in prison are demonstrable upon numerous levels of the person's health. So even if they're innocent and they are, what's the term? When they're absolved of their crimes, whatever it's called. I forget what it is. Where they're let out of prison because, new evidence surfaced and it's proven that they're innocent. I've forgotten what it was. That person who's been in prison, say, 10 years for the murder of someone, let's just say, and it's found out they didn't murder them and it was this other guy, that is going to irrevocably destroy their life for the rest of their life. They're not going to recover from that. There are videos available on YouTube of Nazis being executed by firing squad by US soldiers. Well, that too, yeah. Let's not act like anyone who partakes in a firing squad is a good person. Are firing squads or hanging really any worse than lethal injection? Ideally, a shot to the head should kill you, if that's what they are doing. It should kill you instantly, I should say, instantly and painlessly. A hanging can be non-instantaneous. If you get dropped in a hanging, you could be shot to the heart usually. Well, that just seems unnecessary. But yeah, a hanging leaves a lot of room for error. So you can hang someone, and the idea is they strangle to death, or you snap their neck and they just die, seemingly instantaneously. But could also snap their neck and they have to slowly strangle to death, which I suppose, was the intent behind the death penalty in the first place. When you think about it, they would do these big showy executions in front of the town square for everybody to see as a warning against those who would break the law. You'd have someone up on the, forget what it's called, the podium thing, and they would, hang a person in front of all the crowd. And that was supposed to be a warning. It's like, this could happen to you. You could be up here struggling, flailing about, your arms tied behind your back, your legs tied together, while you're slowly, strangling to death. And that was supposed to be the implication of the death penalty in the first place, I guess, was a deterrent. It's like, we're going to kill this person to make a show of, what happened. The gallows, that's the one, It's usually rifles or shotguns at center body mass, which could kill pretty quickly, Also, most soldiers in a firing squad don't get a choice. Well, true. Being a survivor of a crime that's usually lumped in with these perpetrators deserve the death penalty, you're against it. And even in your shit cunt's case, that death would never come. The cunt would just sit there getting older, and ultimately, purely from a practical, conservative point of view, using more money to keep them alive on death row than the cunt would in a permanent offenders facility. That one side quest I read that as R2-D2. That one side quest in R2-D2. I didn't know R2-D2 was a video game. Anyways, where are the mods? Where are the mods? I don't know. Go away, child. Anyways. We're not done yet. We're not done for the night. We've got some more stuff. How about this one? On the subject of crimes, which are not going to, on the subject of crimes, which are probably not going to put someone on death row, especially not in Australia, because we don't have the death penalty. Yeah, don't keep taunting the trolls. That's what they want. Just ignore them. I have a 3-strike rule here, but I'm just gonna treat the way that you guys responded as their warning to shut the fuck up. The timeout is my personal, so my moderation policy here, my mods know this, is warn them first, time them out next, and if they come back and they're still being a fucking asshole, then you ban them. That's the way that I operate things. You folks in chat have just done the first part for me, so good job. Congratulations. A round of applause for chat. You did a good job. Thank you, everybody, for giving the warning. Anyways. I don't know what Pants and Puritan are talking about. What are you folks talking about at the moment? Because I feel like I've missed something. I'm curious now. It's my own chat and I don't know what's going on. Anyways. You don't know someone your body. Jared Hayne is a footballer, former NRL star. Has continued to deny he committed sexual assault despite being convicted, as his victim told a court she was destroyed and damaged by the experience, but I'm still standing. The chat is the mod proletariat. You are all the working class of this stream. Hayne, 33, was found guilty in March of 2 counts of sexual intercourse without consent after he assaulted the 26-year-old woman in her Newcastle home with his hands and mouth and left her bleeding from the genitals in September 2018. Do I need the details, dude? He was convicted of the charges after a second trial in the New South Wales District Court with an original trial last year ending in a hung jury. He is expected to be jailed when he is sentenced later today. Excuse me. On Thursday, the woman Hayne assaulted walked quietly into court, supported by police and several others, ready to relay her experiences since 2018. When Hayne arrived, a group of his supporters attempted to shield him with umbrellas on the way to the court building, jostling with photographers and camera operators. Did they DM you? What a pathetic loser. Anyway, I wonder if they're going to put a ban appeal in. I'm going to check my ban appeals in a minute. Hung jury, I thought they were required to wear clothes. No. They didn't like this particular jury. Where is it? They didn't like this particular jury, so they hung all of them. Hanged at the gallows. Anyways, just to keep it relevant. Anyway, in a victim impact statement read out as the detective sat next to her, the woman said the incident has affected her mentally, physically, socially, and academically. Hanged, whatever! And no one will ever fully understand the extent of her feeling. I felt dirty and violated. He made me feel like an object and was looking straight through me, the woman said. Hunged. Fucking Christ. Oh god, and this part here. I forgot this happened. Court releases Jared Hayne phone calls. He did say, I'll get her for defamation. I don't want to read that. I sat on my bed, hugging my knees and staring into nothingness. The woman said she sometimes gets a sickening feeling about that night and experiences flashbacks of Hayne's face, stress which has made her unable to work for 6 months and caused her to stop her university studies. My body remembers and my mind hasn't let me forget. The woman said she made the mistake of reading what people were saying about her on social media. Oh, God. I've been reading the comments on this Facebook post that it links to this article. And there are so many people. This comes back to the sexism discussion that we were having last night. There were so many people who were just outright doubting her, saying that, you know, she's lying. And I think someone suggested she invited him to her room. And as a result, that means everything that happens after he walked in the door was completely consensual and completely okay. We've had the consent discussion. You know, why would anyone lie? And yeah, like it's really absurd. And so many people who are like, oh, she's just a gold digger. She's just looking to steal his money or something like that. It's like, yeah, okay, sure. Why? What's so difficult about believing victims? Why is it so difficult for people to believe victims? People in Facebook comments asking what she was wearing. Probably. I didn't see any of those, but I don't doubt they were there. Anywho, the anger, frustrations, and feelings of wanting to die were so strong, but I knew I wasn't going to let them do that to me or my family. People talk about my vagina, my choices, and like to give their opinions based on what they've heard, and it's the most helpless feeling. No matter what happened before or after the assault, no matter who he was or what he's done, no means no. The woman said she has not been eating and is a shadow of herself, with the assault taking away her privacy and making her question her own worth. She said, you don't owe someone your body, nor should they expect it. What I experienced was horrible. Nobody should ever have to feel that way. I'm destroyed and damaged, but I'm still standing. In a seemingly spur-of-the-moment decision to give evidence, Hayne told the court he was on the verge of signing a $500,000 one-year contract with NRL club St George Illawarra on the day he was charged, but after that he never heard from them again. Shocking. Crown Prosecutor Brian Costello said Hayne surely knew there would be some devastating effects for his career if he sexually assaulted someone. And then he goes, in what way I didn't do it. Very convenient. Oh, poor guy. Mr. Costello said there was a previous incident in America where Hayne was investigated for an allegation of sexual intercourse without consent, but no charges were laid and the allegation was resolved by a civil settlement. Okay, if there's multiple instances of this shit, you know he's guilty. If there have been multiple allegations of this shit, you know he's guilty. It's not some grand conspiracy to destroy his career. You know he's fucking guilty. You know he's a rapist. Excuse me. The prosecutor said despite this, Hayne endeavors to portray himself as a stranger to this idea that there can be consequences from this sort of investigation and offending, which is inconsistent with the known history. He should be hanged. If we made rape a death penalty case, look how quick the death penalty goes away. Oh yeah, true. True. When Hayne was asked if he would expect another player in his situation
Welcome
to be
back,
stood down,
supporter of the cause.
Cranch, thank you for gifting us up to Commie. Thank you so kindly. I need to change the alerts for gifting subs and stuff, and I need to figure out how to change that text there. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know why it reads the wrong username. I don't know why it does that. Stupid bot. Thank you so kindly, Granch. You legend, you. When Hayne was asked what the law says, you're innocent until you're proven guilty, I was never afforded that. Haven't you had a trial? Hello, Clara. How you doing? You've had a trial. Isn't that how that works? Where is it? And we're going into like further details about the case here. I'm pretty in favor of chemical castration. No, it isn't a perfect solution, but it seems like a start. But the thing is, chemical castration has been around for a while. Hasn't really absolved much. Where we go? In what way I didn't do it? Where were we? I've missed my spot now. The trial heard Hayne had been speaking to the victim on social media for a few weeks, but they met for the first time when Hayne, who was in Newcastle for a Bucks weekend, stopped at her house on the evening of September 30, 2018 on his way back to Sydney. He arrived at her home at 9:07 p.m. and left his $550 taxi waiting outside, telling the driver he needed to pick up a bag. He left 46 minutes later. In her evidence, excuse me. In her evidence, the woman said when she discovered the taxi was outside, she did not want to have any sexual contact with Hain, but he did not stop his advances and pulled down her pants despite her protests of no. In a message sent shortly after the incident, a woman told a friend Hain had been so rough that blood started pouring all over the bed because he tore my vagina. Hain's former Parramatta Eels teammate Tim Manor told the court on Thursday that Hain has a strong Christian faith. That's never a fucking defense. They changed. You know the reason there's that anti-gay sentiment in the Bible in Leviticus? They changed that from an anti-pedophile sentiment. I don't give a fuck what faith you have. That's not a justification. But in the past, he was branded a part-time Christian by the boys because he would go out drinking and only go to church every now and then. Yeah, everyone's a good Christian when they're in trouble or did something good. Such a stupid thing. Manor said Hain now displays a very genuine commitment to his faith and has been involved in the Hillsong Church, a literal cult, and another smaller ministry. Literally a massive cult. Ugh. Judge Helen Syme asked Hain's barrister Richard Pontello SC to explain what his Christian beliefs have or do not have to do with this particular offense. Yeah. What does your faith have to do? You could be the most staunch Christian in the fucking world and still be an outright rapist. The two are not related concepts. Mr. Pontello said Hain's faith will go a long way to achieving his complete rehabilitation. Bullshit. He said Hain suffered punishment outside the court, including facing publicity, having his family followed and photographed, and losing his lucrative NRL deal. That you got to protect the integrity of his future career, right? You got to bring that up. Judge Syme said Hain has obviously lost his employment because he's going to be in prison. Duh. Hain will be sentenced on Thursday afternoon. Fucking pog. Put him in prison. Believe women, believe victims. I hate to be so absolutist about this, but, he did it. I'm not the jury here, but he did it. There we go. That's what I'm going to say. I hate to be so straightforward about this kind of thing. Yeah, folks, keep it civilized in chat. Anyways, that's me. I don't want to look at me. Ew. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Jarryd Hayne and the whole situation? Again, numerous instances. Whenever there's a case of someone being accused of numerous instances of sexual assault, you have to believe the victims here. I always say believe victims to begin with, and the amount of people who are accused, who are, falsely accused and in prison is so fucking tiny, and a lot of rape cases never even go to prison anyway, never even go to prison sentencing anyway. So the likelihood of someone being falsely accused is so minute that it's hard to ever believe the perpetrator. Believe victims, Rapists are stinky. Guilty of heinous crimes. Oh, God. You don't deserve that. But anywho. Anyways. That was interesting. Just thought we'd get that one out of the way. Believe victims. Some people think the victims just want a piece of spotlight. Yeah, exactly. I can't imagine anyone would want to make themselves known for having been raped. The amount of shame you would feel, quite frankly, would just be like the amount of personal pain you would feel, and the amount of, just quite frankly, we know how people respond to victims. We know how people look at victims and say, there are people who criticize them, there are people who talk about them in personal, intimate ways, traumatic ways. Why would you put that spotlight on yourself? Why would you want to be known as someone who was raped? Why would you want to create that reputation for yourself? It's trauma. It's not something anyone would want to live with. I don't doubt there's probably one or two people out there who are that psychotic that they would just for the clout of it. But it would be so few and far between. It would be such an incredible minority of a minority. I just cannot fathom it happening, honestly. Simpler for one person who has a clear motive for lying to be lying than it is for multiple people without a clear motive to be lying, exactly. The Joe Biden woman? I don't know that story. I'm unfamiliar. Oh, hang on. No, actually, no. I'm not unfamiliar. I just can't remember the details. Was she another Maya? No, Joe Biden is a man. Okay. I am about done for the night. I'm about finished for the night. How's about we go and harass someone who's being nice and just minding their own business? Let's go and harass someone who's just being nice and minding their own business. I don't know who, though. A bunch of people are playing Resident Evil Village, and I don't want to raid any of them, because I would like to play it myself at some point. Everyone is quick to drop me to, and it's Democrat. Kept DMing the troll from earlier. They got horny. Of course they did. Oh my god. Oh my lord. Of course they did. Why am I not shocked? For goodness sake. Hello, kitty cat. How you doing, baby? Let me see here. What you doing? What you doing, cat? Ow. Trying to find someone to raid, and I don't know who to raid. Like, yeah, I do want to be a slave, just not to a 14-year-old. Why does everybody have to be playing fucking Resident Evil? Well, you know, I found... There we go. Crapsley's not playing Resident Evil. Crapsley's playing Fallout. Crapsley's playing Fallout, apparently. No, Crapsley is playing Pokemon Snap, which I think... Spoilers. Because she's not in here. I'm gonna buy that for my daughter for her birthday, because she really likes the look of it. My daughter wants to play new Pokemon Snap, and I know she's not watching my stream because she's in her bed asleep. Don't tell my daughter I'm buying her the Pokemon photography game. Shh. Anyway, if you've not already, please check out all of my social media. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and my off YouTube channel. Join the Discord. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I am finally committing. I'm gonna put it in my fucking calendar. I'm committing to recording that fucking video this weekend. I'm going to do it. I promise myself, and I promise you, you will get a video this month. A proper video, not a stream highlight. And then there's going to be another one this month. I'm going to do it. 2 videos for this month. Promise. I will see you when I'm looking at you. Be kind to yourselves and each other. And, I should do that the other way around. Be kind to yourselves and each other. I'll see you when I'm looking at you. There we go. That's how we do it. Ta-ta. Have a good one. I love your faces. Mwah.
Happy.